All right, so we're good. This is RadioFire.com. Yours truly, WK, in here. So I love talking about politics, city politics, Baltimore city politics, the nation, just relations. And so I have two very combative people here, and so I'm sure that the sparks are going to be flying, and it's going to be very entertaining. Do you want to introduce yourselves? No.
I'll introduce myself.
Please do.
I am the great and powerful Oz.
Okay. There you go. All right. Okay.
But I'm black.
Okay. Well, yes.
They call me Chango and Yango.
What?
Yes.
Okay.
That's it.
And besides you?
You can go ahead and introduce me, Oz. Go ahead.
Really?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. And this to my right here is the Queen Mother Earth. AKA Shorty Get You Done Right.
Okay.
AKA Black Money Matters.
Okay.
AKA Giwe Nyama. The elephants don't forget.
AKA sitting on something fat. Okay.
Can't forget the bounce.
Okay.
That's Mika Nambi. She is host of a nightly show from West Baltimore that just streams live.
Parts unknown. Parts unknown.
Right, from any place in West Baltimore where there's injustice happening.
It's a lot of injustice going on.
Injustice.
I want to take it right. I want to take it right at the top. We talked about a couple topics off air real quick, and I want to dive in a little bit. We were talking about Donald Trump. Okay. Mm-hmm. Donald Trump is halfway to the presidency. Now, I say it's not going to happen. I say Donald Trump is not going to be elected because he is unelectable.
Wow.
Why is he unelectable? Why? I'm going to tell you why. Donald Trump is unelectable because
George Bush Jr.
of who he is.
Okay.
Because of who he is.
What about him?
He's
has the right class.
He's the right class, but he has no class. Even the white people, like, okay, if Donald Trump, on paper, Donald Trump, all the white people would support him, but he talks crazy because he has no class.
He doesn't talk crazy.
He doesn't talk crazy.
No, he talks right in line with what he really thinks.
He talks to their base.
He talks to the base.
He does not talk to. He talks to his base.
He talks to the base of America. They're the same thing.
I disagree. Okay, Mitt Romney. We remember Mitt Romney, right?
Small town Texas.
Okay,
West Virginia.
Mitt Romney, white guy, close to his age, maybe a little bit younger, a lot of money, right? They don't speak, even if they think the same thing. They don't speak the same thing.
Mitt Romney is from family money.
Their base is different.
The base is completely different.
But he's a white man, and here's the thing.
But it's not about color.
It's going to be a landslide victory for Hillary Clinton. Landslide.
Listen.
The way President Obama beat Mitt Romney's ass is how Hillary is going to beat Donald Trump's ass.
It could be the case. I don't think so. I sincerely doubt that will be the case.
Let's go back.
It could be the case, but I'm just telling you, there's a thing that everybody keeps missing this. Donald Trump is a folk hero.
Sure.
For the $30,000 and under click.
It's not enough of them.
The greater majority of white America.
Yes.
Listen, that means nothing. That means nothing.
Why does it mean nothing?
That means nothing.
First of all, you told me he wouldn't win. He wouldn't get this far.
Right.
Donald Trump?
Yes.
He shouldn't have. But the reason why he did was because he was underestimated. They underestimated him. But let's go back again. Let's understand something that's serious. We could talk this racism shit. We can talk all that. And Hillary played the racism card when she was running against President Obama. All that, right? But let me say this. America, this country that we live in right now, only 4 years ago, elected Barack Obama.
So what?
Right.
Okay. Because when all the racist people were still born, they were still voting, and they voted for Mitt Romney. And it wasn't enough of them. If we elected Barack Obama over Mitt Romney, who was a very, very white person, conservative, said all the good shit, all of that, and they still elected the black man, they're not going to elect Donald Trump over a white Hillary Clinton. No. What say you, Nika Namdi?
I say that.
How?
You shouldn't have the button. That's what you shouldn't have the applause button. That's what I say.
No.
Because
Mitt Romney and Donald Trump are two different animals. Mitt Romney did not speak to the heart of white America. Donald Trump does. Mitt Romney came.
Bring that closer.
Speaking to the mic.
And flip it up a little bit. Perfect.
Put it close to your mouth.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice. Mitt Romney didn't speak their language. We talking about West Virginia.
So who did they vote for?
Texas.
Who did those
Some
people
of them
vote
didn't
for?
vote at all.
Okay.
We talking
They
about
voted
Kentucky. We talking about Indiana. We talking about all of these places. They didn't feel the same vibe as a Mitt Romney, and he was a Mormon, which that's a whole nother angle.
Right. That gets
But-
you Utah,
And that's it.
and that's it.
But
Okay.
Donald Trump is speaking directly to the base. And the other difference is we now live in a post-Obama world. We live in this is what we call the black
People feel
lash.
relieved.
Yeah, this is the black lash. So now they can act a complete donkey.
Yeah, it's no such thing as conscience now. Like there's no guilt. Like white guilt. Obama.
We can't be racist.
Right.
We elected a black president.
Exactly. Obama did this thing where he erased a huge chunk of what we call white guilt. There's only a very small chunk of so-called white people who really think that, who really understand that there's still some work to do to make equal rights a real thing, right? Most people, and again, we're talking about that 40,000 and under, right? These people who really believe that in the story, the fairy tale, the rags to riches fairy tale that is Donald Trump.
All right, so let's look at this a little bit closer. Who y'all are speaking about are what this country calls poor white men.
Right.
That's it. The women, who the white women gonna vote for?
Not all white women
Donald
bang
Trump.
with Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, but
Donald Trump.
and who's gonna take the white women vote in this country?
She's gonna split it with Donald Trump.
Okay, that's fine. Who's gonna
And
take?
BBC lovers.
That's fine. Who's gonna take the black male vote?
Donald Trump.
No, hell no. Come
Now
on
you
now.
bugging.
The black male
Now
vote.
he bugging.
Okay. The black male vote is going to Hillary. Black female vote.
They dumb as shit if they do.
It doesn't even matter. The black vote is not what I'm trying to tell you is Barack made it so the black vote. First of all, blacks don't vote as a block. So there is no such thing as the black vote, right? And there's actually 4 candidates out there. And people don't understand that.
Sure.
But
the Green Party doesn't have a chance to win. So why waste your vote?
Only because
Please don't waste your vote. Green Party can't win. And
why can't they win? Why can't they win?
they
If
can
everybody
win in-
who
they
thinks
can win in the city.
if everyone who thinks that Hillary is the lesser of two evils voted for Jill Stein or what is it, Robert Johnson? That's how you gonna do it.
I like Jill.
Or the
However,
other.
they can't win.
All right.
So my thing is this: if you fall into the Bernie Sanders supporters, right? The Bernie Sanders, the mad ones, the Bernie or bust ones, the ones who didn't get the memo that he's not in the race anymore.
Oh, they got
The
the
ones
You mean the ones who
was
got
born,
cheated?
the ones who was
You mean
born,
the
he
ones
did
who-
get cheated.
Oh, all right.
The ones who was born at the
Fuck, I look
convention,
like
those.
before
Okay,
cheating.
it's over.
Okay.
The worst thing that can happen is Donald Trump. The worst.
No, it's not.
Hillary is not the worst option.
First of all, you know Donald Trump is your enemy, right? You know clear and true. He ain't about nothing really that got to do with no black people.
Is there such thing as Gary Johnson?
That's the other independent candidate.
Yeah, I'm saying what you said about Donald Trump is absolutely true.
Okay. Hillary
Yes.
Clinton, you think she your friend? You think she an ally of black people?
Here's what I
Because she
think.
calls your ass a super predator.
Here's what I think.
She called you a super
It was
predator.
you.
Here's
Specifically.
the thing. She said it about me.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
Your ass black and
Can I
male,
finish?
right?
Can I finish? Can I finish?
Go ahead.
Now, no, none of the two people that you named are ideal picks. Okay, they're not ideal picks. However, we got to pick one because the other.
No, we don't.
Yes, we do.
No, we don't.
The vote is wasted if you don't vote for one of the two.
Millions.
I already done told y'all.
Brewster's millions.
You vote for the Green Party. In this instance, your vote is wasted.
Okay, it'll be wasted. I'm not voting for Hillary Clinton.
You might as well stay home.
She's not. She's not our
You
women.
might as well stay home.
First of all, she's not our friend.
I think a vote for the Green Party is saying that we actually are getting closer to the place where we have a 3-party system.
At least a 3-party system.
No,
Really
but here's the
parties.
thing. Here's the thing. And I think that we need a 3-party system. However, the way to do it, this is not the time. This is equivalent. Voting for the Green Party, okay, in this particular race is equivalent. I'm gonna be clear. I'm gonna slow down. Y'all not gonna like this. Is equivalent to arguing with a police officer on the side of the road trying to get justice. It is the wrong time and the wrong place for that fight.
Wait a minute.
Well,
Why?
When is it?
Not now.
Why?
Not when the world hangs in the balance.
But wait a
Not when
minute,
the
why?
world hangs in the balance.
Why? How does the world hang in the balance any different now than when fucking dumbass Ronald Reagan became the president?
Okay.
And then there's that.
Here's the thing. Okay, you always have somebody behind the scenes pulling the strings.
Right.
What's any different now?
Bush was pulling the strings.
What's
Okay.
going to be different with
Bush
Trump?
was running the show.
What's going to be different
Bush
with Trump?
tried to take Reagan out early.
The
what
only
is going
thing
to be
bad about Trump is that we don't know who the
There
string
is
puller
nobody. That's why it's a fucking circus.
Right.
There's nobody pulling the strings.
Right.
He's at a whim.
No, you
Yeah.
don't know who's
Nobody
pulling the
yet.
string. That's the thing. We don't know.
Nah,
Yeah,
the
we don't
person
know.
pulling the strings, you can't pull the strings later. He would have to be pulling the strings to get him there.
Okay, but how?
But now once he's there, the puppet been moving by itself. It ain't a puppet. He's not a puppet. He's doing what the fuck he wants to do, which
Okay.
is worse because nobody knows what he wants to do. He has no agenda, no plan, I can do it. Believe me, I'm the best. Trust me.
Okay.
That's it.
I love it. It's
That's
so
crazy.
Driven. It's so marketing driven. I love it.
That's
I
what I'm
love this
saying. At the
candidate.
end of the
But
day,
she's not-
people gonna go in there. It's gonna be like, no.
She's not the
I hope he
lesser two
wins.
evils.
It's gonna make.
She is
us-
definitely the lesser two.
No,
evils.
she's not. Because when you think somebody
She's
is
become
your friend,
more
when
progressive
you
because
think
of Bernie
somebody is your
Sanders.
friend and they're really your enemy, they can't be the lesser of two evils.
Yeah.
They can't be the lesser between the person
Because the
who's that's your
betrayal-
known enemy.
Her
She's
betrayal-
not
Yes.
our friend.
Yeah,
And she's not
there
even our
is-
ally.
There
Show
is
me
a
the
such
receipts.
thing as the lesser of two
Show me the
evils.
receipts.
Here's the thing.
Where's her
You don't
allyship?
see any difference in her now.
She bullshitting.
But it's
Politicians are bullshitting.
Okay.
professional.
Yes, we know that. Everybody lies.
What is she gonna do? For us?
Everybody lies.
What is she gonna
Your
do?
dress
for us?
looks nice. It's a fucking lie. Everybody lies.
That's fine. What is she gonna do for us?
What do you mean?
What is she going to do?
She's not gonna do
Just
anything.
keep the world spinning. All I want is to keep the fucking world
Well,
spinning.
here's the thing.
Donald Trump could end the world
And
before
so
I have
could
grandkids.
And so could she.
I don't
She
think-
ain't.
He can't.
And so could she.
I don't think he
Because
can.
here's the thing: the same way
I don't think he can.
we worrying about the wrong race. Because the
What do you
same
mean?
way Obama was blocked by the Congress and the Senate,
Mhm.
Trump can be blocked by the Congress and the
Not
Senate.
this Congress and Senate.
Are
Not
you
this-
kidding?
Not this Congress and Senate.
Are you
fine.
kidding?
It's not
But
gonna happen.
who?
Wait a minute.
We
wait a
still
minute.
have an
Pause.
election.
We
of-
don't
wait a minute,
know.
we still
I'm
have
saying,
an
that's
election of
true.
congressmen and senators
Sure.
or congresspeople
Sure.
and senators
Sure.
that can
The
come
whole
in.
Republican Party is coming out right now.
Hopefully.
His own party is
Hopefully.
coming out right now denouncing him.
Yes. Which is another reason
so-
why he's not going to win. I keep
He's
telling you,
definitely
he's not
gonna
going to win.
He's going to win because the average person, that same $40,000 and below group, doesn't give a shit about Congress, or
Because they dumb.
they don't care about their elected officials because their elected officials don't represent them.
right.
And that has been the system for too long. And so if he represents, and his narrative is that he is the maverick flying in the face of
Sure.
all of the
establishment.
establishment,
Good plan.
then he can make it. It's a movie. It's Wag the Dog.
But here's the part that y'all are missing.
Okay.
If he was the type of person to say the right shit, then I would say you're
He's
right.
saying
He's
the right
not saying
shit.
the right
He's not
thing for
say-
you.
He's saying
and
the right shit.
He's saying the right thing for them.
He's saying the right thing for a segment of the population.
The
a
larger
big
segment of the
That's
population.
not the largest segment.
Okay,
really?
You've said yourself.
Google.
You
Go
both
to
have
Google.
said yourself. and don't pay attention to none of them fucking polls. You said
no.
You
the
said yourself
of the population.
The median household income in America is $40,000.
So-called white people, 40,000 and under. That is absolutely factually the largest segment of the United States population.
There are plenty, and you said yourself, there are plenty of white people that are not buying that talk.
Right.
There's plenty that are not buying it. There's some rednecks. There are rednecks that buying it. There's rednecks.
It's not just rednecks,
right? Not just rednecks, but I'm saying they're part. It's part rednecks. It's some other people. It's some chauvinism that's going to play into facts as well.
Right.
However, at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, Hillary's going to win.
Okay.
I mean,
I don't think so.
If Hillary does not win, we have a major problem on our hands.
No, we don't.
No, we don't.
We survived Andrew Jackson, Thomas Jefferson, FDR.
Hold on, slow down.
Who the fuck is Donald Trump?
Slow down. Who survived Andrew Jackson? The Indians? No. The Indians worst ever is Andrew Jackson. I don't even think that they spent 20.
They actually did survive.
Barely.
Barely.
They didn't make it to the 1900s.
My point is,
and Andrew Jackson killed a big chunk of them.
He did.
But they did survive.
But they did survive. My point is,
and they got casinos.
Where? In Nevada?
They got alcoholism, but
okay.
Yeah, the reservations. That's not the point.
Okay.
The point is, it doesn't matter who's in the White House.
It does matter who's in the White House.
Don't matter to me.
It does. Here's why. Because
how did it affect you?
I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why Trump is different than the other people. Because the stakes are so high. The ability to end the world did not exist during Jackson's term. Andrew Jackson. I'm saying so. Right now, where we are now, the wrong move can end shit.
You're talking about the nuclear option.
Yes,
that's not. It's not.
Here's the thing:
real. That's not a real threat.
They fucking with the internet shit, right? They hacking shit, right?
Right.
President. You think they're gonna stop it? Hillary's the president.
Listen. You do some shit. You do some shit when you got a cool, calm, collected person with class in office. His words are going to be different. You do some shit and you got a fucking you got a redneck with money and that says he's going to build a wall and you know what I mean? All this kind of dumb shit that he says, his reaction is going to be different. Right. So I'm not only talking about Trump saying I'm going to do this. I'm talking about other people reacting. We don't know what he's going to say. So therefore we can't predict the reaction of the other countries who don't give a fuck.
We can't predict their reaction about Hillary being elected either.
But Hillary ain't going to talk crazy like that.
Well, watch this.
She ain't going to talk crazy. She just going to act crazy.
What you're talking about is you're afraid of the nuclear option with Trump.
I'm afraid
nuclear war.
I'm more likely to get shot by the police in Baltimore than a nuke to get dropped around here.
So I'm afraid, but listen what I'm saying. I'm afraid of the reaction of Russia, China, to the shit he says or does.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
But it's still you're talking about nuclear war.
Scared money don't make no money.
Or something, something like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, from outside, there's really not too much else that can happen other than nuclear war.
Yeah, that's the only thing that's going to end the world. Yeah,
right. That's the only thing that's going to end the world.
Or change civilization the way that we have it now.
Right.
Maybe not end the world, but really move the pieces on the chessboard around a little bit.
Right. So Trump is nuclear war. Now, I happen to think that that's why he's orange. I mean, and that that was his whole plan and intention.
All right, so we disagree on that. You seem to think that this will be some type of punishment, and the Trump punishment, 4 years in Trump punishment, and then Green Party comes up and everybody is kumbaya and we good.
No, motherfuckers ain't gonna be kumbaya.
No, I think that this lays the foundation for why we need the Green Party because of the DNC's behavior this time, because of the fact that we literally have been shown that we as the electorate have zero power over.
And it's not just the DNC's behavior this time. It's the DNC's behavior from the time from Nixon's election when they made the deal with the Southern Democrats
and the
racists.
RNC. To be honest.
Well, I mean,
I'm
politics. Politics is a dirty business. But it is a business.
Right.
It is a business.
Absolutely. And the transparency, like the skirt, it was like at one time the skirt was up, right? And you're like, oh, and everybody said, oh my God, Watergate, right? But now it's like it ain't no skirt. It's just a thong, and the thong is pulled to the side now. Like we see all the dirtiness,
but we continue
every day, right out on, and so. Eventually the electorate and the populace
absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Right.
So it doesn't matter. So listen, green parties will turn to the brown party.
But it won't be absolute power.
Yeah, why would it be absolute
I'm saying
power?
Because the way that this capitalist system works is two. It works in twos. It doesn't work in threes. You got the two big ones. You got the two big fast food chains. You got the two big radio stations. You got the two.
But it can work.
So if you bring up green, that means that you bring down the DNC or you bring down the other one. It's going to be two. It's always going to be two.
That's not true.
That's going to happen.
It's two. Everything works in pairs.
Britain has multiple parties.
Britain?
The rest of the West has multiple parties. Yes,
we can't talk about the rest. I mean, no, we got to talk about this one because those are corrupt as well. But this one is kind of unique.
But
what's unique?
The system that we have here
we're not trying to end corruption
because we can't do that.
You can't do that. That's idealism. That's like that. Euphoria,
capitalism,
utopia,
unicorns.
Capitalism can support multiple parties.
Shit.
Capitalism can support multiple
so
parties.
Here's the thing about Clinton. And I said this before President Obama said it. Hillary is the most qualified person for the job. Donald Trump's.
I'm more qualified.
I have Donald Trump's resume here. I'm gonna grab it for you first.
Hit the button, goddamn it! Hit the button.
Everybody, I have Donald Trump's resume. I'm gonna bring it on the camera.
Oh my God! Really? Right? Exactly.
You see it? Donald Trump's resume.
Boom.
Right here.
There you go.
It's fucking blank. He's never fucking had a job before. He's never had a job.
I love it.
Okay? He's never fucking had a job. Like zero.
And what job has she had?
Hillary Clinton is a professional crook.
Right. But
so we want the professional crook.
Right.
And how is she different than him?
She's very different because with Hillary, we know what she's going to do.
What is she going to do?
She's going to do the typical politician shit. She's going to do the typical stuff.
So she's going to lock up some more black men.
Yes.
I don't think that's where she's going. I don't think that's where she's going.
That's where she been though.
She ain't the only one.
You're right.
She ain't the only one.
But she's the only one running for president.
So now y'all on some. It's funny because women seem to hate her more than men because now you're on some industrial prison complex shit. Like she started the shit.
I didn't say she started it, but she's the only one running for president that was running around with that.
But look, watch this. Let me just say this. I think
you don't think that Trump done put money in that shit?
He probably did.
You don't think
he's making money?
Y'all don't think Michael Jordan put some money in that shit?
He probably did.
There's a lot of motherfuckers that put money in it. What? Y'all ain't stopping buying Jordans. Y'all ain't stopping buying Jordans. Not y'all. I'm talking about them niggas. I ain't talking about y'all. I'm talking about them niggas.
This came from Payless.
Them niggas. I'm talking about them niggas. Not y'all. I'm talking about them niggas. So, but
right.
People jump on the bandwagon. Right. They jumping on the bandwagon.
Well, maybe they are. I'm not.
I don't think that Hillary is going to do anything different. I think you're right.
She's going to continue. Yes.
And the only thing
the status quo has been screwing us.
She's going to cruise control. She will cruise control her way through it.
Something that's been screwing us. The status quo has been screwing us. So why would I vote for that?
How can you possibly think on any day of the week? This is not like you made your bed, you're going to lay in it like you say to your son, some shit like this. Ain't like that.
Yes, it is.
This is way more serious than look. You did this.
Here's the thing.
You got to suffer the consequences. This ain't like that.
Guess what? I got a passport. I can leave. Woo woo. I don't have to be here. We got other options. We don't have to be here.
Right.
How about we can get the fuck up and leave?
Deborah Cox said that shit, right? It was the last hit she had. Okay. I don't buy that philosophy. Where are you going to go?
There are plenty of places to
Tell me where you're going to go.
I could go to Belize. I could go to Ghana. I could go to fucking
You hanging out with Sean? Word? That's what you're doing? Sean is the answer? No. Hell no. That Godfather Buried Alive was bullshit. Damn, that album was bullshit.
Oh,
I mean,
And
word. Okay,
this is why.
maybe if you said you was gonna try to go to Canada to the OVO Fest, maybe. But Sean, really? No. Maybe if you said you was going to Cuba. No, fuck that. All right, so whatever.
I mean, you do know that this not the only place on the earth.
Sure,
live.
I know.
We don't have to live here.
There is not a country that is going to give you the same experience as this one.
Well, maybe that's a good thing because our experience here ain't been all that fucking good, homie.
Speaking,
our experience here
you know why? You know why?
Oh.
You know why our experience hasn't been good?
Why?
It's because we believe propaganda.
Everybody does.
We are followers.
Everybody is.
And we are not as tight knit as we should be.
On purpose.
So leaving is not the answer.
No, I didn't say it was an answer. I said it was an option.
Straps and getting it together.
But see, all right, hold on. Whoa. Right,
I did.
So I know. Wait a minute.
Yes, I did say that. I did say that.
What bootstraps?
So the bootstraps.
Wait a minute.
Or your shoestring straps, or your naps, back straps.
Who around here pulled themselves up by their bootstraps?
What I mean by that? What I mean?
America didn't even pull itself up by its bootstraps.
I ain't talking about America. I ain't talking about America.
We know what you mean, but
I'm just saying.
When does it ever work? Who did that particular philosophy ever work for?
It works for immigrants.
Oh my Jesus!
It works for immigrants, but we're immigrants.
No, it doesn't.
Who's an immigrant?
We're immigrants.
Okay, immigrants is voluntary. We are not immigrants.
No, immigrants is not voluntary. If you are getting fucked over in your country, quote unquote, and you run here, that's an immigrant. That's an immigrant. That's an option. Or stay and die. Or stay and be persecuted.
Dying is an option.
But no, you could have went to a million different places, but you decided to come here.
Because this is the best option for an immigrant.
Right, it's voluntary, and you had an option.
When
you say it's the best option, I mean you had an option.
If you want to play with words, okay, so fine, yeah. Right. I mean, if you want to play with words, okay. If you want to play with words and say, you know, my family's village is fucked up. They coming through with the AKs. Right. We gotta get the fuck out. We swim. How will we get out? Right?
That doesn't make you an immigrant.
Okay, so refugee. That's a refugee. Okay, fine.
We're not a refugee. We're not refugees,
and we're not immigrants neither.
Well, not us, because we were born here and we don't know about that struggle. Right. We didn't experience it, you know. So let's not try to overstate. I mean, our ancestors' struggles are there.
Yes.
But we cannot act like we're not affected by it. We are affected by it, but we can't. But we can't use it as a crutch. It's there. And it needs to be. It needs to be the motivating thing, but it can't be the. We have to use that as the motivation. Which we don't do.
How would we? Most of us don't even understand what our ancestors experienced. So how could we use it as a motivation? Because we don't have a firm understanding of what enslavement was.
But that's fine. I don't think we got time for that. I don't think we got time for that.
We don't have time to be educated.
We do have time to be educated, but I don't think we have time.
We don't have time to just hear. Man, I'm not talking about the detail. I'm not talking about every little detail. I'm just talking about the genuine, actual narrative. And the trauma.
Yeah, you said the general narrative. Yes,
the general actual narrative.
But
that our people went through. Right?
Sure.
And the effects that it has on us today.
The medallions, dashiki, right. All that's good, beautiful. At the end of the day, what the fuck? What the fuck?
What do you mean?
I'm saying we can wear the clothes. You can give it the whole history. I know the history. Deep.
We don't have to wear no clothes.
What I'm saying is what we have to do is we have to get the younger people engaged. And the long history lesson
in what?
Engaged in what? In a unified plan of action.
Here's the problem.
Not a long, extensive roots.
Yeah.
And you're gonna lose them. You're gonna lose them. You got to get them engaged.
You're talking about forward only, right?
Yes.
Let's just focus on the forward.
It's too fucking yes.
Here's the question.
You can't just focus on forward only.
I'm talking to the guy. He's 16, 17, right? he seen roots or whatever, right? He got his dashiki and his medallions, like you say, right? Okay.
Meaning the superficial shit. That's what I really mean. Yeah.
Right. But he doesn't understand why he feels the way he does inside of the system that we have. He doesn't understand why he feels the way he grew up right beside Billy, right? Who has the private school. He got a private school education. Billy got a private school education. He got a private school education.
Still don't.
He doesn't understand, right? When they grow up, right? That Billy goes off and marries Sarah. He goes off and tries to marry Sarah. It's a problem. Billy goes off and works for Uncle.
It should be a problem.
But why?
Why the fuck is you marrying Sarah?
Why not?
Sarah's ass is flat, my nigga. What?
This is where we get.
Okay.
This is where we get to the problem. And see, this is the thing.
No. Here's the problem. The problem is this, and I don't want you. And I'm going to throw you a curveball. The problem was integration. The fucking problem is we want to fucking be. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. I said he shouldn't marry Sarah because Sarah's ass is flat. Because that's against our natural.
We shouldn't worry about the past. That's not
no. But here's what I'm trying to say. Integration means supporting black business. Integration means supporting your own.
Listen. Integration.
Correction. I'm sorry. Segregation. When we my point is this: the integration is what fucked everything up.
Segregation means
no,
that you have a continuous line from where you are today.
What? Right? No.
Segregation meant that these people had a continuous line from where they were from where they are today back.
No,
because I'm going to tell you
that's not what I mean.
No. That might not be what you mean, but I'm telling
you. Well, you
that
saying
this is the end result of segregation. When a city like Baltimore is segregated,
and it was
when black people are forced to live in a certain place with each other,
they thrive.
And they thrive. And
pause right there. But why?
They thrive because there's a continuous line between where they are in 2016 called community, right? With the previous generations all the way.
But it got to start somewhere. It got to start. But now we going back to the old shit. My thing is this. My thing is this. But my thing is this.
The old shit is what gives white people their edge and advantage.
White people, it's all fucking mental because their advantage is fucking artificial. If we lay down for the advantage, shit. If Larry Holmes laid down for Jerry Cooney, he would have whipped his ass. This is how it is. This is how it is in real life.
Is not all artificial.
Black people are Larry Holmes, and the white people are Jerry fucking Cooney.
No,
okay.
Let me give
Jerry Cooney was a fucking bum.
The advantages are not all mental. Stop.
They are mental.
No, they're not. They're not all mental. I'm gonna give you a perfect example. When black veterans in World War II went and fought and came back, they could not take advantage of their VA. That was mental. They could not buy homes.
Pause for a second. Let's go back first because you skipped over some major shit. What I mean by that is we are better equipped physically and mentally. However, if we just lay down and don't use those gifts, you know how you tap into those gifts? You tap by understanding that you are not less, you are more.
But where do you get
that from?
What do you mean?
Where do you get it from? Children. Let them answer that one question.
That has to come from us.
Who's us?
Us.
From yourself. So you just hood as that.
No. When I said us, when I say us,
and just understand that about you.
Well, when I say us, I mean somebody older is supposed to tell you. Yes, us.
That's history.
That's your fucking family. Your fucking family, man. Your family.
What if
your family.
What if your family's cracked out and nobody told them? Then where do you get it from?
Somebody older. Okay. Everything has to come from somebody older.
Community.
I mean, what I'm saying is this: it doesn't matter. You know, everybody has their own, you know, just situation. What I'm trying to explain to you is that
everybody
the younger
have their own situation.
Everybody has a situation. Everybody has a situation.
Everybody doesn't have their own situation.
Every family has y'all playing with words. Every family has an obstacle, a struggle, whatever it is. What I'm trying to say is, listen.
That is the essential problem. What you saying?
No, it's not. That's not.
You think that there's a separation between.
I didn't say separation. I didn't say separation.
You say everybody got their own situation.
We have a house. We have a house. What do you have in your refrigerator? Different than what you exactly. Everybody got their own fucking refrigerator. Everybody got their own stuff. You got your own. You have your own house, right? And your house is one house in a community. Everybody has their own stuff that they're in charge of. And part of the problem is
it's small. Because
I don't think it's small. No,
I'm saying you're thinking small. When you say everybody,
we got to start small because we have to start small and build. We try to put the net too wide. Everybody, we got to hone in. And this is a micro thing, and then it expands. It's like it's an army, right. And the army starts with one person behind another person, behind another person, behind another person, so together.
You mentioned the one. Okay, so wait a minute. You talking about a model where we have one person behind one person behind one person, and then eventually it spreads out. But that is what we're talking about.
It has to start.
When we say community and when we say history. Because you cannot draw power unless you're drawing from the people that came before you. You cannot.
But here's the thing. You have to speak the language. So we can't do it. We can't do it the way that we've been doing it. We can't. And what was effective for your generation, my generation, is not going to be effective for the current generation. We got to tweak it. You got to tweak it. Everything got to be tweaked.
Tweaking doesn't change the core.
Who your grandfather is different than you are because his experience was different. Life was different. It's different.
Let me say this to you. My grandfather stood around in a circle, right, with his contemporaries on a corner, talking shit, trading stories.
Sure, same. That's the same.
Great grandfather did that same technology as a way of healing, as a way of dealing with the bullshit.
As a way of being.
And right now, anywhere in America, you can find black kids doing that same technology.
Yeah, but that's just communication. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking if we go deeper. If we go deeper, if y'all gonna try to sit here and act like the mentality of our grandparents, right? Of course, you can pick out one or two. Right. The average mentality is usually they got married early. Right. They had kids. They had a bunch of kids. He went to work. She stayed home, or organized the family, and that's what it was. Right. He fucked up. They still stayed together. Right. He didn't communicate well with her. They still stayed together. Right. He had a family somewhere else. They still fucking stayed together. Right. This generation now, if y'all gonna sit here and act like this generation doesn't break up a lot quicker and doesn't take a portion of the bullshit, the mentality is different. The mentality of the family structure is different. Don't even get me started in how the educated black single women, there's a lot of them, because they have been manipulated by the propaganda of thinking that they can do everything that a man can do and they can do it themselves, which they can do. But everything you can do don't mean that it needs to be done.
So right now you're talking about external influences that are having an effect on what is really very durable African technologies and African cultural memory. And so right now, yes.
I mean, we got so many problems. So we got a lot of problems.
External influences that are having a negative impact. Absolutely. Which is why we need to intentionally be going back and embracing these technologies and using them, like you said, at a micro level.
How do you engage? Yes, I mean, it's just like this. It's just like you ain't got to fuck on the first night, right? So what I'm trying to say is, and you ain't got to get your threesome on the first night, but you can get your threesome down the line, right? But you got to get the mind first. Thing, brother.
That's like a serious negotiation piece.
That's what I'm saying. Right, exactly. So what I'm trying to say is that you got to get them engaged first. So the age of the person depends greatly on the method of reaching them.
Absolutely.
Right. And so what you have to do to engage a 16-year-old is not what we have to do to engage a 38-year-old who's on the wrong path. Right. So maybe the history lesson might need to be deeper with the older person than the younger person, because you got to engage them first.
Well, that's the thing. You talking about flipping modes, our
methods,
like,
our methods is different.
Methods, all of that is important, and all of that is serious.
But
it is
the
surface.
History has to be there.
It is surface, because the core lessons, right, are the same. Take care of your family first, then move out in a concentric circle, you know, your community, your friends, your community, your world, right?
Yeah, I agree
all
with
the lessons are the same, right? And the things that resonate with us are still the same. That's why that beat is still so important for our kids. They don't know nothing about African drums, but they know when the beat drop, everybody goes wild.
But they do, but it's the same thing.
It is the same
so
thing.
they do know about it. They just don't know that they connected.
That's just evidence. I'm just using that as one evidence of how
it's a lot of stuff like that, though.
Right. Of how our ancient history is important, and we need to be going back and connecting.
I never said it wasn't important. I'm just trying to say that my thing is I think the biggest thing is that the generation that we have now is such a big disconnect. And if the generation, the current teenagers, 20-year-olds, if we don't reach them, then shit's gonna be worse.
Yeah, well,
shit's
it's
gonna
not
be
about
worse.
Reach them. It's about you should have got them when they was 2 and 3.
But now they older, so we still gotta do something.
Right, but you can still engage them, and you have to give them the history.
Right.
Otherwise, they look around and say, "What the fuck is wrong with
you
us?
gotta
Why do
filter.
we live like
you
this?"
have to filter it in. You gotta filter it in.
Filter it in.
But
however,
if your message to them is, "Yo, I got this big car. If you want to get a big car, you got to do X, Y, and Z." If that's your message, right? As opposed to have good character, take care of the person next to you so that they will take care of you forever, right? Be loyal, have trust. And you're not highlighting that. Everywhere on my IG, somebody is putting a little thing up that says, "Trust no one, stand alone." Right?
Yeah, but that goes back to what I'm saying. But that goes back to what I'm saying. The person, the poor kid that sees somebody with fly shit, they like that shit, right?
Right.
That what you have to say to reach them is a little bit different than some. It just depends on where that person is. And so the people that are motivated by those material things, you got to speak to them in a different way.
But the core message is the same.
Right.
Well, how you deliver it might be different, but the core message is the same.
Yeah.
And if you don't know how to deliver it, you might not be the one that's supposed to be doing it.
Get somebody else,
your child.
Right.
Get somebody else to do it. This is what rites of passage is for.
I agree with that.
Right.
So
I agree
whether
with that.
you're dealing with a 2-year-old or a 22-year-old, the core message is going to be the same.
Right.
How you communicate the message is going to be different, but the core message is going to be the same. We cannot get away with an escape from the history. It is what it is.
Speaking of history, I want to talk about the police department real quick. If that's possible.
Coming straight from the underground.
That's how you feel. The police department, in your opinion,
got it back because I'm brown.
The history of the police department. We talk about history, right?
You mean the history of the overseers?
These were the slave catchers?
You mean the history?
Were these the slave catchers?
Yeah.
Officer, overseer.
Exactly.
So is there a way that this can be
reconciled?
Yes.
Well, first of all, we need to police our own community. That's number one.
Yeah.
So
now what does that mean?
Perfect example. The house next door to me is boarded up, right? It's boarded up today because I made sure it was boarded up. What was happening before? It was vacant. Kids were teenagers, somewhere 14 to 18. They breaking in there, having sex, smoking, hiding out, whatever they was doing. And so instead of continually calling the police on them, I approached them. I said, "Yo, y'all can't keep going in there. What's going to happen when the police show up? They're going to fuck us up. So why you going to keep going in there?"
And here's my piece. My piece is this: numbers, right? Community policing means this. Around her house, there can't be more than 50 kids 20 and under, right? Who live there. Now, it's more that might come and hang around.
Transient, yeah.
But who live there, it can't be more than 50, right?
Mhm.
That means that the adults outnumber them,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
So and we know that a small group of people determined in one course or the other can shape the entire world, right? Margaret Mead said it's the only thing that ever has, right? And we know that for a fact. So why can't the men on that block know each other, come together, and make a decision? Yo, if it's an empty house on our block, boom. When we board it up and we put our little blue X or whatever we do to mark our territory, we good at that, right? It automatically means all y'all little niggas know don't go in this house.
But basically, at the end of the day, I was like, y'all can't keep going in there because if the police catch you and start shooting, and my children live next door, bullets don't got no names. And so I asked them, are you homeless? Are you hungry? Do you need me to take you somewhere, get you somewhere to stay? And their reaction was like, damn, like somebody do give a shit. So they was like, no, we good. I'm like, seriously, y'all know where I live. If you need something, come here, but y'all can't keep going in there. But I took it a step further. I called my city council person and I told them, y'all got 48 hours to board that shit up, or I'm going to board it up because I can't have the kids coming in and out of there because I can't have people calling the police on them. Bottom line, you cannot, there's no way that we're going to continue to have an outside force that we know for 400 years has been, their sole job has been to oppress us. Their sole job has been to criminalize blackness. That's not going to change overnight. So we have to police our own communities. That also means we can't be afraid of our children.
You're absolutely right. But the thing is this, we won't necessarily get a fair shake in the current system. It's not set up that way.
Of course
That's
not.
why we got to do it.
So what we have to do is just like anything. We have to know the rules of the game and play the game accordingly. The game is and I said something earlier about something not being fair. The game is not fair. For us, it's not set up properly.
No game is.
I'm not worried about the game.
Think about
I'm worried about
every game is unfair.
Unfair.
In basketball, if you taller, it's not fair.
Right.
To the other person, right?
But
football,
exactly.
If you're bigger or faster, it's not fair.
It depends on what position you're playing.
It doesn't matter.
What I'm trying to say is that in order for you to excel, but that doesn't mean that the short person can't make money and be successful. If you know the rules and play your position correctly.
Here's the thing.
But fairness is not
we worrying about playing, yes, I'm saying. We worrying about playing the rules on that game instead of creating our own board.
Here's the thing.
We got to create our own board.
But we can create our own board. But we still have to understand that system is going to still exist. We still going to be out in the city, whatever city we live in.
Absolutely.
We still got to ride and the car got to be identified the way they say it got to be identified. All that shit.
I'm not
saying we have to play we can't get pulled over and fucking argue on the side of the road with the person who has the fucking law literally on their side, can shoot and kill us.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether you arguing. The man, the therapist had his hands in the air and said, "Don't shoot me." They still shot him. Yeah. So what the fuck difference do it make?
Yeah. I mean,
here's this.
But this is the thing. That was we got so many fucked up situations.
Natural law says I have a right to defend myself. Now let's be real.
Okay.
I don't give a shit whether you got a gun or a badge or anything. Natural law says I have a right to defend myself. So even in the instances, because we like to talk about, oh, they should have just been quiet. They should have just, she shouldn't have said this. She should have put a cigarette out. They shouldn't have looked this way. He shouldn't have been doing that. But the fact of the matter is, we supposed to just do whatever the police say. So if he say, get out the car and suck my dick, I'm supposed to do it? Am I supposed to do it?
Okay, thank you for the extreme situation.
No, it's not extreme. The police rape people all the time.
Sure.
Correctional officers rape people all the time. Sure. It's not fucking extreme.
It is extreme.
So how is it extreme?
Because you just jumped the situation. Now,
how did I jump the situation?
Let's go back. Let's go back for a second before we go to the the sodomy and oral rape. Let's talk about
don't wear no fucking t-shirt.
Let's talk about this. Okay. Now there are situations that's fucked up, right?
Right.
There are situations that a lot of our people, if they had acted differently, it could have gone a different way.
Yeah, you could have negotiated or navigated. So what you're talking about is skill in navigation and negotiation. Right?
Abso-fucking-lutely.
And guess what? That'll get you, a little further.
No, but listen. Let's go back. Let's go deeper than that.
Is, are we looking for justice or not?
Let's go deeper than that for a second. Let's go deeper for that in a second. If you have the ability to negotiate, use your good judgment and get out of situations, not only that, but also in life, because these are life skills. These are why in life your life could be in a different spot, and you are applying it to not only this police situation, but at work.
But do you understand
with your baby mother? It's all encompassing.
But it's nothing, no skill or anything that you can bring up right now that'll get you an advantage, right?
In what?
In life. Can you
in life? Yeah, sure.
No, it's no skill that you can bring up right now that's not connected to your lineage, to your heritage. All the way
to
back.
Your development.
To your development.
Even better than that. Let's look at
but I'm saying
it's all connected.
Let's look at the brain.
But we can't go with the I had a bad life, so shit's fucked up.
No, let's look at the simple. Let's look at no, wait a minute. Let's look at the simple brain science.
Right.
The simple brain science. Black, brown, green, yellow, red. If you are afraid, like the police claim they are every 10 seconds, which I don't understand.
That's a cop out.
Because if I had a gun on my hip, I walk around here and I'm not afraid with no gun. So if I had a gun on my hip, I'm not afraid of shit. So that's bullshit. But if you have a genuine fear of something and I bend your arm back, there are three natural responses: to fight or freeze. Fight, flight, or freeze. These are the responses. So this whole thing about navigating, all of that's cool until your brain actually starts to take over, till the involuntary responses inside your brain start to take over. So this whole thing about resisting arrest, a lot of that's BS. That is a natural. If I bend your arm back, you're going to move.
Absolutely.
You're going to struggle.
Absolutely.
You're going to try to get free.
What we're doing is we are making excuses.
That's not an excuse.
Hold on. Okay, what I love to do is I love to twist people's words and use it against them. So let's say that me and you are dating, okay? And you push my buttons. I lose it. My normal reaction is to fuck you up, right? You ain't good. All this bullshit you saying right now, you wouldn't be saying that. Now, all of a sudden, you need to keep your hands to yourself. You need to be using your common sense. You need to be using your reasoning and negotiating skills. All that shit that you saying now, all of a sudden, don't apply. Now, if the nigga is hitting his girlfriend because he lost it, because he couldn't control himself, right, then all of a sudden, all the shit you just saying just a minute ago to the police,
that doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Common fucking sense.
It's not. It doesn't
Don't
work.
put your hands on no women, and understand when you are in a situation
it's completely different.
Where
who has the power? The abuser has the power.
Huh?
The abuser is the one in power. The abuser is not afraid. So that's bullshit. Throw that in the trash. Your argument that you just gave.
No, it's about self-control. It's about self-control in that situation with the abuse.
But this the place. Violence doesn't come in until somebody feels powerless. Right. That's the thing.
Or their power is being threatened or challenged.
Which means that they're feeling powerless.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you tell me get on the ground and I say fuck you, little
and so
nigga,
now I have to show I got power.
Show and prove. Right?
Right.
But it's the same thing. Big man, 200 pounds, right? And
but why should that ever be the reaction?
Why should
big man too? Because it doesn't matter. A little girl, a little lady, 100 pounds. If you have mentally placed your personal value in what she thinks about you, and she tells you you are fucking dirty toilet paper, nigga, you ain't shit, right? Then she just took your power, right? And so if your only response and your only tools, because you don't know how to negotiate and you don't know how to navigate that situation. If your only tool is to what? Thrash out, lash out. Well, bitch, I can beat you this way. You just beat me this way and made me feel like this.
Yes.
Right? Then that's going to happen. So what I'm
but why does that happen?
There's no difference between that situation and that power imbalance that results in violence and a police brutality situation where it's a power imbalance that results in violence. There is no difference in those two situations.
But you're right. That's why I said it. You're absolutely right. And my thing is this: if the lady's 100-some pounds and she's good with her mouth and she can, say words to belittle him and make him feel, even though he's bigger than her, and she does that. I don't think she should do that. One, because
it's not smart.
We don't know his reaction.
Right.
We don't know his reaction. And his reaction was to hurt her, right?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's right. So the police officer, to me, suck my dick, I ain't gonna do that shit to the police, makes no sense. That's the 100-pound woman talking crazy to the guy.
Right, but you're going against common sense.
You can handle that another way. Call your brothers. Deal with this shit later. Yeah. You in his face right now. This ain't the time to tell him.
You're going by common sense.
Yes, we need to.
But common sense is not a.
It's not end all be all. It is a real thing.
No.
You've been pulled over by the police before?
A billion times.
True.
Yes.
I've been pulled over by police before.
Yes.
You've had the police pull guns on you before?
No.
I've had the police pull guns on me before.
Right.
Okay. And I'm a pretty level, cool-headed person.
Right.
Okay. Now, police, I was walking down the street in my neighborhood where I grew up,
right,
Baltimore Hilton.
Right.
Literally walking down the street, police rolled up in a car, pulled out guns, hands in the air, against the wall, all that shit.
Right.
I'm just walking,
right,
literally did nothing.
Right.
And so they cuffed me, they put me in the car.
Right.
Somebody robbed somebody. They said I fit the description.
Right.
They gray locked me up.
Right.
And the person who got just like that, the person who got robbed was in the back of one of the police cars.
Right.
I can hear the radio. They said that the guy was 6'1".
Right.
I'm not 6'1".
Right.
Right. The guy who got robbed was in the back of the car. Was like, that's not him.
Right.
They uncuffed me. Said, okay, go where you going.
Right.
No, nothing. There wasn't no extra conversation.
Right.
That was the end of it.
Right.
Now some of guys that I know in that same situation would have got shot because they would have reacted differently.
Because look, you didn't feel desperate.
No, I didn't.
You felt vindicated. You felt like
no. I'm talking about before. I'm talking about before. I'm talking about when they first rolled up.
No. Even when they were first approaching you,
yeah,
you were like, well, I know I ain't this shit,
right?
So I ain't tripping. They wilding,
niggas ain't do shit,
right?
Right.
But guess what? You didn't feel desperation come over you. You didn't have.
I was scared.
Yeah, I didn't say fear.
But I didn't. But let's just say that the guy who robbed him was 5'7". I'd have got locked up.
Yes,
quite possibly.
Right. But you have an idea in your mind, and I can tell by the way you're telling this story. You have an idea in your mind that if it wasn't you, they couldn't possibly prove it was you because they don't got no evidence. Ain't nothing on me. Like you're thinking of all of
absolutely,
that.
absolutely,
right?
And my thing was all this shit's gonna get worked out.
Now watch this. That's your thinking.
It doesn't always get worked out. That's true.
Okay, now here's the thing.
But that's what I was thinking.
How many people do you know who cannot think about what's going to happen next after I do this right here? Right. How many adults do you know who do not have a built-up habit of thinking 3, 4, 7, 14 moves down?
But we need that. But we need that.
No, hey, we need to see the fucking future. We need to see the future.
But it's taught.
We can see the future.
Critical thinking is
we can see the future because we can see the future because yes, it is a skill. We know the future.
Watch this. And I gotta tie it back to history. Because what if you don't come from a long line of people who understand the the alchemy that it is of putting 1 + 1 + 1 and see it equal 25 down the road.
Because then it's not common sense to you.
What if you don't come from that line?
It's not common sense.
Common sense is only common in your particular genetic line.
Yeah, well, yeah, or your knowledge. It don't have to be your genetic line. It could just you could have been the first in your family to pick it up. Yeah, absolutely.
But it's still going to come from your community. It
absolutely.
Can come from lateral.
But if we can solve that riddle, then we can
teaching critical thinking.
Then we can harness if we can solve that and implement.
But teaching critical thinking skills is not. It's not rocket science. We know how to do that.
But this is the thing. If it's so easy, then why we won't do it? Because if we do that, we will support and patronize the correct businesses. Right. More of us will stop killing each other and stay alive. Like that's the answer for everything.
Well, see, you got to understand. See, this is another thing
that will keep our families together. All of that. That one thing. But that's so easy and low tech.
Right.
Will fix us.
But listening to you makes me think that you have an opinion that the majority of us don't have this technology mastered already of teaching critical thinking.
All of us? No, because we got a lot of us that make fucked up decisions.
The way that you're talking right now makes me think that you don't think that the majority of us have this under control.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
You think that the majority of us do not?
I know we don't.
All right.
Because if we did, our financial power would be correctly harnessed.
Let me just throw some numbers at you. How many people in the city of Baltimore?
A lot.
600,000.
600 something thousand, right? Let's say even 600,000. What percentage is black people?
A lot.
It's about 65%. Let's just say 60%. Multiplication says there's 360,000 black people inside the city limits, not Woodlawn, not all these other greater Baltimore area, right? Just inside, just inside the city limits. So if you just take off a quarter for young people and a quarter for really old people and leave half, right? That's 180,000 black people just in the city of Baltimore, right?
Okay.
How many arrests do you think get made? Of
how many arrests?
Arrests of like, and I'm assuming
that you know these statistics.
We're just gonna assume that every arrest, right, that happens in Baltimore City is somebody who doesn't have these critical thinking skills.
How many of those people?
It's 180,000.
So how many of those people was the percentage that you say
are like adults
that don't have these critical thinking
what
skills?
Percentage you think of because you just said most of us don't have it.
Yeah, and I'm not talking about the people. I'm not talking about the people, only the people that are arrested. I'm talking about this epidemic is a greater portion. It is the women who picked the wrong guy, who's always fucking with the wrong dude. She's got issues with the critical thinking.
So what you're saying
it's not just the unfortunate people that end up getting arrested.
Right.
It's much greater than that.
So you're saying that there are in a city.
It's the girls buying the hair from the Asians, and it's deep. The thinking is fucked up.
But where did the fucked up
all that shit?
Where did the fucked up thinking come from, though?
Just for numbers' sake, you're saying with 360,000 black people in Baltimore City, right? In Baltimore City, the overwhelming majority, 75% of those people, which would be 140,000 people walking around in Baltimore City, do not have critical thinking skills.
They have varying degrees of it.
Well, that's all human beings.
Yeah, varying degrees.
But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about don't have, because that's where we started at. And I think
that have zero. You say they have zero. I mean,
or low.
Are you trying to find? You're trying to find a way for me to give them all a compliment?
No, I'm trying to find a way for you to look at what the city would be if it was 140,000.
Oh, I know what it would be. I know what it would be. It would be a record-breaking murder rate. Oh, wait, we already got that.
But it would be in the thousands, not in the 300s, my dude.
Huh?
300 murders? 300 and something murders? You think out of 150,000 black people who had no common sense, you think we would have 300 murders?
The critical thinking is what causes that. The ability, the conflict resolution. All that shit goes together.
We're just looking at magnitude.
Yeah, the thing that will make somebody pull out a gun over some fucking sneakers.
That's not necessarily about critical thinking, though.
Sure it is.
That's not
sure
about necessarily about
But
critical
think about
thinking.
magnitude. Think about the magnitude, right? And I just want us to
the person, the hopelessness, the person who doesn't give a fuck. That's what I'm talking about.
Keep saying these words about how most blacks and I don't think that it's
because I'm not concerned. They're white people. I'm not concerned with them. There's Spanish brothers. I'm not concerned with them. I'm specifically speaking, right? So when you say
it's still 360,000 black people, self-identified black people in Baltimore, and the overwhelming majority of them could not have the lowest range of critical thinking skills.
Why don't
a goddamn Beirut?
No. Why do we give our money away as soon as we get it? If we have all this wonderful critical thinking, why?
When we talk about
the 300,000 people you're speaking about,
when we talk about
they're wasting their money on Instagram bullshit and shit that they see.
We're still Americans.
Yeah, but we are in last place. We can't afford to be we can't go along, get along. We have to do shit differently. We have to operate. We have to hold ourselves to a higher standard.
No, we don't have to hold ourselves to a higher standard.
That's ridiculous.
Or we can stay in last place. Some people like last place. At least be in the race, right?
It's not about holding ourselves to a higher standard. That's not what it's about at all. The reality of it is we have to have some kind of unified platform that we're on.
Yes.
Right.
Now, critical thinking is
the
an
first
issue.
thing we had to do is stop saying most black people this.
The critical
wow.
But most black people,
most
black people have been
that
incarcerated.
Percentage that you're talking about, how many percentage of them are trying to buy the fly sneakers or the purse or any of the material shit? What's those numbers? Fucking high.
The same as Americans.
Fucking high.
The same as Americans.
Right. The difference is
that's the answer.
Yes, that's.
But here's the difference. But here's the difference. Here's the difference. Some people are in first place, and some people are in last place.
Sure.
And if we want to do the same things that the people in first place are doing, we gotta do some other shit too.
He's about to mediate you.
So it sounds like
he's about to mediate you.
That because you think the brown people are in last place economically, right?
We are.
That they should do
more shit.
That they should do something different.
Yes.
To get ahead economically.
But it's not.
Then
we
buy
more of the bullshit than anybody. You can't say that we don't buy percentage wise. We buy the
economically,
bullshit.
We're in last place, not necessarily. It's not totally because of our financial choices.
It's
not totally, no.
So when I go buy a house from Bank of America and they charge me more,
right?
Don't buy the house from Bank of America.
The vast majority of people didn't even know they were being redlined.
Right.
The vast majority of people didn't even know what redlining was.
Yeah.
When I go to a black establishment and have to pay $3 for a bar of soap instead of $3 for 6 bars of soap, that's because a lot of times small black businesses are paying a black tax.
Right.
So our condition economically isn't even largely predicated on. It
goes back to white only pie and wanting to eat the white only pie. It goes back to that.
Yeah, but
it goes back to that.
But where did we even get that from? Where did we get the concept that white only anything was better?
Our parents' generation and the grandparents' generation fucked this over.
Really?
Yes.
So the myth. Wait a minute. So the myth of white supremacy and black inferiority came from our grandparents.
No, not that part. The part that I'm talking about is this: we can't change the white supremacy thing. We can't change it. Somebody's gonna think what the fuck they want to think. Our problem and our grandparents' problem is that they wanted the acceptance of the white people. We want to go to the same school that they go to. We want to have the same this. We want to have the same that, boss. All that bullshit. My thing is that, and at the time, yeah, our toilets was probably more fucked up. So clean this shit up. All fucking water fountains were probably fucked up and not working. Let's fix the shit. So we had our own shit. We had our own doctors, our own this, all that. And they still wanted the fucking grass on the other side. They still wanted that shit. And it was
how do you
why did they
want the Ralph Lauren shit?
Why?
Ralph Lauren don't want your fucking you shouldn't even want that shit.
It's very simple though. How do you fix the inferiority complex? Because what you're talking about, all the things that a lot of the things that black people do come from our inferiority complex that we didn't create.
And it's been passed down.
And it has been passed down.
From our from the generation before us and the generation before them.
Exactly. So the only way to deal with that, the only way really that we have to deal with that is to shore up our self-esteem. How do you shore up a people? How do you create self-esteem or community esteem within a people? You have to go back to their history. You have to go back and show this 400 years in our history is an aberration. We have thousands of years of African history prior to our enslavement period that to draw on our humanity, to draw on our intellect, to draw on our ingenuity. The reason why you have a Washington Monument, the reason why they celebrate their Confederate veterans, all of that is done to create a certain sense of esteem.
Right.
Period.
Right.
So if we want to correct our issue, it's not just about critical thinking, it's about how we feel about ourselves. A lot of the killing that happens is because we don't value each other. Why don't we value each other? Because when I walk out my front door, I see trash, I see buildings falling down. I have teachers, I go to a school where I can't drink the water, but I can turn on the TV and see how the other half lives. So the only way we're going to deal with, because people are not just about their intellect, what we call book smarts. People are also about their emotions. We are emotional creatures. So we have to deal with our emotions. Bottom line, self-esteem, community esteem, we have to deal with it. We can't deal with that without addressing the history. Got to address the history from 1551 or whatever it is forward, but we also have to address the thousands of years of history prior to that. It's no way around that. It's no way around that. And yes,
I just think that some people, you're going to lose some of the young people with that long, extensive history.
I didn't say, first
you can maybe work your way back when they get to a certain.
Not in African mode.
We're not going to have.
It's done in African
we're not going to have no one.
We storytellers.
Right. We're not going to have no one conversation about it and talk for 10 hours. That's not what it's about. We have to create a new sense of community. The only way to do that is to connect the dots. The only way to connect the dots is to tell the story. Now you start telling the story when children are 2 and 3. Children can recognize at 3 racial differences. By kindergarten and first grade, you already have little black children saying that the white doll is pretty, the white doll is smart. We've seen it over and over again.
And that has to be corrected.
That has to be corrected. The only way,
not when she Lil Kim's age and fucking her face up. It got to be. And Lil Kim thought that that doll was like that. That shit should have got corrected early.
Absolutely. And you're right. So here's where we agree. Our elders made a mistake because assimilation, acceptance was never what we should have been after. But we know that now. We can Monday morning quarterback that a little bit. But at this point, we got to address the esteem issue. No one wants to address the esteem issue.
True.
No one wants to say integration, the way we did it, was a bad idea. No one wants to admit that.
Yeah.
No one wants to talk about. We try to say, go get an education. No one wants to talk about that. The educations that we are getting teach us to hate ourselves. What did you learn about black people in school?
Listen, I don't think that that's the fucking answer. Yeah, you're right.
So,
but you can't do any of this without going backwards, without going back and getting that story. And that lineage.
I stand corrected on that part. I just feel that it has to be tailored in a way that you can still keep them engaged, and I'm sure that it can be done. I'm sure that can be done.
Every way of engaging people, we have basically invented that shit. You know what I mean? Like, or if we didn't invent the actual method of engaging with one another and telling our stories to one another, we certainly came and made it the hot shit.
Here's a proof. Just look at what the whole Kendrick Lamar, Beyonce, the whole thing that's gone on with Black artists specifically this year in bringing certain elements.
I think they've done a good job at that.
They've done an excellent
I
job.
think lemonade was a popular drink.
And it still is.
But if you look at that long form video, it's African culture all through there. You infuse it. You don't have to run around. I don't wear dashikis every day, but people who run across me and talk to me are very clear. Not only do I sometimes wear the African trinkets or the African regalia, I live an African-centered lifestyle, period. Whether we in America, whether we on the moon, we live an African-centered lifestyle. All right, you're not going to the moon. We raise our children together, and we don't do none of that. You can't say nothing to our kids. And none of this is easy, because some of what you get into is how we relate to each other.
Mm-hmm.
We have got to stop with this nuclear family. We just going to take care of our 2 kids. We can't move like that. We can't afford to move like that. Number one, a lot of our mothers and fathers, grandmothers and grandfathers simply aren't in place.
And the truth is, whatever your daughter sees, that's, if she sees your husband beating you in private, that's what she's going to expect my son to do. It's no getting away from that.
Yeah.
We all link together. We all got to move together. Really, it's a human thing. It's not even a Black thing. Like,
right.
When you really start looking closer at the thing, then you see, once you get past the idea that there is no Blackness, there is no whiteness except what we have created and accepted on both sides of that ball, right, to devastating effects, right? Then you get to see that, okay, boom, humanity. Wow. All right. So everything that has happened to white folks, or how they were injected into the global society a few thousand years ago, and how they're desperate to survive now because they know that in a few hundred years they're gonna be gone. You know what I mean? Like, and the havoc that they are creating as children, basically as children right now. Like, we know that you can see that in a human context. Yeah. You should be able to see that and be like, oh yeah, I understand where they're coming from. Sucks right now, but I understand. And then all of these structures that have created, that have been created to try and preserve this separation between us, and that's why, I always bristle at the idea there is no you and me. There's only us. And the people who benefit from you believing and me believing that there's a space between us are our enemies, our open enemies. And I don't care if that's the apostolic versus the AMEs.
I think that just that in order for that to be the case, we have to believe the same things.
Right.
So if you say that, and if that is the case, but you don't believe what I believe, how can I allow you to teach my children?
And we gotta respect each other, number one.
Yeah.
Because if I can listen to you and I can come back to you and say, oh, okay, so you think this, right? And then I can ask you a question that
have some healthy dialogue.
Have some dialogue, and I can ask you a question that challenges what you're saying without you taking it as
to the next level,
an affront, a complete affront and disrespect.
Right. And that's the conflict resolution and the common sense and all that, but it is applying some of that. Yeah, we say the same things.
Right.
I agree with y'all.
And the thing is, if we really start to believe that most of us don't got common sense or the capacity to do this type of dialogue that I'm talking about, right, then
because we're too easily disrespected in our minds, and we take things the wrong way sometimes, and we so on edge the way that we got to maneuver in order to survive, right, that sometimes we come up against each other when we don't have to.
Right.
But that goes back to the comment about police.
Right.
In your moment of survival.
Trauma.
In your moment of your trauma level, you remembering, because here's the other piece. People don't want to talk about it. The studies are coming out now saying that trauma is passed from generation to generation.
Oh, absolutely.
So trauma. So the experiences of my grandmother and my great grandmother are passed to me. And if they are passed to me and they do shape the way I interact with him and the way I interact with you, and I don't know that, then we can't come to any kind of resolution in our families.
Right.
if we're not acknowledging what the trauma that did happen when our grandfathers were beating our grandmothers, and our grandmothers made the choice, sometimes the choice, and sometimes didn't feel like they had anywhere to go to stay, that does code my relationships with Black men. We have to acknowledge that, good, bad, or ugly.
And we're not saying that it's an absolute, right?
No.
Because there's very few absolutes in the world, right? But I know that inside of me, there's a button that can be pushed where everything gets bright like these lights, and I don't know what happened to you. I literally, genuinely don't know what happened to you. All I know is before the lights, you were standing there and you were saying something, and then after that, you wasn't standing there no more. And I literally don't know. You know what I mean? And I know, listening to stories about my grandfather and my great grandfather, that is genetic. That is coming in a genetic space for me. Whereas I know my brother, who is like my ace bone, like he don't got physically harmful body in it, like physical harm bone in his body. Like he'd just be like, "Word, you did that, Joe? Damn." And that's it for him.
I mean, you know, if my father was an addict, using this philosophy, I would just be predisposed to just go down that same path.
Predisposed does not mean
that I have
definite.
to do it. Right.
But you might develop different resilience. So perfect
because
example.
Your mother is still in there.
Perfect example.
And your grandparents.
Right.
Everybody develops, based on exposure, different resiliency factors, right?
Yeah.
So one person A, predisposed to a particular thing, and person B, predisposed to a particular thing, may not have the same outcome because of other experiences, other things infused. Right. So we're not saying genetics is a part of it. We're saying it's a part of our total picture, and we have to understand that. Like, there are things that I've been told about my great grandmother that make complete sense. Things about myself that I didn't understand. But when I start to hear these stories about the type of woman she was, I'm like, oh.
Right. Like, I got to leave the whiskey alone. I got to stick with the tequila.
These are, I mean, you laughing, but these are, so that's the stuff that we don't ever get. We too busy talking about all this other stuff, and we don't get to the base of how we communicate, how we interact with each other, because in all honesty, that was the biggest thing that was destroyed or damaged. I won't say destroyed or damaged through our enslavement period, and through Jim Crow, and through, you know, the Red Summer.
And there's been a marketing campaign that makes people believe that it's not nothing. That is, that's nothing. That's, you can leave the past to be gone, because the thing is, the American aesthetic cannot survive if people hold on to their past. And I'm talking about even white people.
Yep. But I think I think that what resonates with me the most that we've said is what the job said is about the communication and how, you know, your past affects you in previous generations in your your direct line. And I think everybody understanding what's their thing and what's, you know, what do I have to work on? What are my weaknesses? That type of thing. And because everybody's is different. And so, and understanding that and then, you know, building on that. And then once you've built on that and understood that, and then interacting with other people who's also done the same thing.
But here's the thing. Most of us can't. You got a lot of people who can't tell you who their great grandfather or great grandmother
or
was.
grandfather.
Yeah.
Prime example. There's a certain power. I sat in a meeting once, and the guy said, you know, like off the cuff, like, yeah, you know, we own the land under Giant Stadium in New York, and we got a land grant from Cornwall III, whatever. Like, he's telling a story of his lineage. Right?
Because it was passed down to him.
Because it was passed down to him along with the money.
Because they were proud and they wanted to tell him.
Okay, but so perfect example. Then everybody else at the table start telling their stories. And somebody looked at me and made some kind of comment about
like a question.
I can't remember exactly what it was. And I was like, oh yeah. I said, well, it's a little bit more difficult for me to trace my ancestry back to where we came from before enslavement because of the stories y'all just told about your families.
Because of all those stories you just told
True.
about.
Because of the stories, because of the accumulated wealth that you have, the
and how
sense
you
of
got it.
how you got it, the sense you sitting at this table basically saying to me, my folks were slave owners and they passed this money and land down
To me.
And I'm proud of it. And then I'm gonna turn around and ask you about your lineage as if you don't fucking know. You know, and so that
I think they were ignorant to that part. I don't think that they were trying to slight you.
They're not
I
that
think
ignorant.
I do. I think that they're
not that
selfish
ignorant.
until
in
you
that
start
particular
thinking about
instance.
it. Until
And
you
then
start,
instantly, once
you're
you said it, then
provoked
it was
that.
like, oh shit.
Yeah.
But
and
before that, I don't think they
Right.
sat down
there's
to
a
say.
lot of things that you don't start thinking about until
Until
somebody says something.
which is
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Which is fine. But I'm just saying that the power
But
That doesn't excuse them.
But it doesn't. It doesn't. But tell me this, because our ancestors were enslaved in America
Mhm.
and other places,
Mhm.
does that mean we can't get to the top of the food chain?
Well, first of all, let's dispense with the concept of a food chain. Because see, that's part of our problem.
I mean, whatever term you want to use.
Can we get
can we get
our community?
but
Wait a
can
minute.
we
those
get
words
to the
have
head?
power.
Can we get to the head of the bus?
No,
Can we get to the
I
top?
don't
Can
want to
we
be
be first on the list?
See, that's what the
Yeah,
point.
we
That's
be
the point.
economic?
That's the whole.
point.
That's the whole
Can we be
point.
better off than we are now?
Can we get to a state of community wellness? Yes.
Can we say that
That's
top.
community wellness is not my question.
Can we say that right? But because that's your orientation.
My
Your
question
orientation
is,
your
can we
your
get to the
orientation
point?
is top, bottom, top,
No.
down.
Can we get
hierarchy?
no?
And
Can we
that's
get
not-
to a?
that's
Can we
not
get to a
our
point? Can we get to a
orientation.
point where a lot of us have wealth
A lot
Sure.
of us already have wealth.
more
Absolutely.
How is that going to help us?
tremendously?
How?
Wealth and wealth how?
What do you mean? How? I don't
What
understand.
kind of wealth?
asking
Because wealth.
you how? Because look, if your poor black ass is walking in Park Heights,
To help the Jewish people.
right? If your poor
But you
black
can't-
ass
you
is
can't- wait a
walking
minute.
in a Jewish neighborhood, right? You get stopped. You
I
get
wouldn't be
harassed.
walking in Jewish
right,
neighborhood.
Right, boom, you get harassed, right? But if everybody in the Jewish neighborhood take the blacks out, take the Jews out and put wealthy blacks there, do you think that you would get stopped any less?
Let me say it this way. Let me say it this way. Because
Power.
yes, it would be totally different
No, it
under my
wouldn't.
theory. Because under my theory, what makes the white people, what makes us looked at, quote unquote, like we don't belong, is the fact that
That our skin is black.
we supposedly don't have the economic power. If it was our neighborhood, right? If we flip things, right, and the black
Maryland has more
People-
black millionaires than anywhere on the
listen,
planet.
and the black people, not just a few of us,
Maryland
but the black
has more
people.
black millionaires than anywhere on the planet.
Okay, that's fine, and it's still not enough.
But your
It's still-
theory should already be working.
It's
in
not
some kind of way.
working because it's not
PG
working.
County is a black county.
Okay,
And the schools suck.
The
And the
schools
police
suck.
the police are still wild.
Are among
What-
the
what-
national,
what-
like they're on the national list of
Of-
like horrific police departments. In the
what
country.
y'all? What is my question that y'all won't let me ask because y'all pick on words?
No, it's if we get
is
money,
is
you
just
take it to help.
no.
Okay.
No. Okay,
Stop picking on him.
what y'all gotta understand is that what motivates you guys is different from what motivates the next person, right?
That's
Some
everybody,
people
right?
are motivated. Y'all money is not big to you, and I understand that, and it is kind of superficial to a degree. But what I'm trying to say is that
Money's not big.
the pride factor for some people are motivated by these material things, right? It makes them feel whether they are or whether they're not.
Makes
And
them
as a
feel
man, you have a son. I don't have any children,
Right.
but as a man, if you can't financially do something for your family,
Mhm.
it makes you feel a type of way. I
Yeah,
don't care whether you're
absolutely.
educated, not
Absolutely.
educated, whatever.
Fact.
And the ability to do that and not do that weighs on the decisions that you make.
But that's
and a lot of us and a lot definitely that's just a man. That's just a man, women, whoever your offspring, whoever. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Your offspring, whether she can't do for her kids,
right?
It makes her feel a certain type of way.
In this
and it will make
country.
But listen, and it makes us make decisions.
In this country, no matter how powerful and how much money you have and how much wealth or influence you have, right? If you're brown, your child is still in danger.
Yep.
And that's the thing. But cannot be erased by money. It cannot be erased by no level of
I do
line towing.
Listen, I do this. Here's the issue. Here's the issue. That part is controlled by who is in power. And if our financial situation changes, here it comes. We are in power. We are in power. Shit changes. Okay, when the money changes, the victim or the predator or the hunted changes.
So my point is, if that
because
was true,
we control what happens, we control who's in office. We will control shit, not the Jewish people.
Right. My point is, if that was true at all.
It is to a degree,
right?
At least to a degree.
If that was true at all, right? Then in neighborhoods where there was dominantly affluent black people, right? Then brown people would be able to walk around without the fear of getting shot.
Not under this current system because we don't have enough control. Chris Rock said
we're only 15%.
Chris Rock said something.
So we'll never have it in the United States.
Chris Rock said something that I want to reference for a second, and I know we got to go. He was talking about different people that live on his block and where he lived, and nice neighborhood, whatever. He's Chris Rock and successful comedian. He said that house that he lives in, his next door neighbor is a dentist. Just a regular white dentist, not famous dentist, not invented dentistry, just the regular white dentist, right? And he's able to afford the same house that a superstar black guy can afford.
Right.
So my point is that it's not enough. We don't. That's just because he made it out. Jay-Z, handful of other people.
Where did he make it out?
Whatever. I mean, financially,
you can't transcend blackness,
right?
Cannot transcend
because it's not enough. Because it's not.
We'll never be enough.
We'll
never be enough. We're only 15% of the population. The only way we can be enough under your paradigm is to leave and go where that brown people are predominant,
which puts us back.
I don't think that that's the only way.
So even if we were all rich, if we were all what is defined as wealthy, and I'm just pick a number out my ass. If we all made $350,000 a year and we all had positive net worth of $500,000,
and I think that's kind of out there for that to happen, but more so the easier thing to do, it wouldn't stop the police issue, but the easier thing to do would be to harness our wealth collectively, the money that we throw away. If we really used our power and control what we spent money on, that alone would cause a big shift. It wouldn't eliminate the police issue.
So
that's a separate issue.
What would it cause a shift in?
It would cause a shift in what companies and corporations made it and didn't make it.
Okay, so if we had
we support a lot of corporations that we shouldn't support.
Okay, so if we took away, we're 15% of the United States population. If we took away,
but that 15% spends most of their money on bullshit.
If we took away every one of our dollars from, let's say, Nike, right?
That would be big.
That would be big.
And spent it on your
some
shoes
black
or something
right,
else.
right.
Yeah.
That would be-
You
some black company.
would be the fucking man.
That would be huge, right? Would
That
be huge.
alone would be huge.
That would be
yeah.
big, right? Not only because it would change the shoe market, right? It would and cause every other shoe manufacturer to begin to market to us in a whole different, more respectful way, right? But it also would cause a ripple through every other product.
Absolutely.
Right? All
Absolutely.
the way across from
it would change the game. That would change the game.
It would absolutely change the game, right? But it also would ripple into politics, right? Where whatever the mechanism or machine was that needed to be built that could marshal that much buying power, because we're talking about a machine, a political machine, the size of which has never been rivaled before, to unify all of the black people on this continent, in this country. That political, and that is a political campaign, what we're talking about. We're not talking, we might have just based it on one product or whatever, but we're talking about a massive political campaign, the size of which nobody has ever seen, right? In not in this modern day, right? Maybe John the Baptist and them was, I don't know, because that was some good rhetoric. But in order for that to happen, think about what it takes for one mayoral race in one modern American city. Think about the amount
how much
of money that it takes to create that campaign. Think about the amount of coordination, the amount of relationships, the amount of partisan help, right? And that
the amount of corruption.
So you're talking about, and the amount of corruption. And so you're talking about a Herculean effort, right? That, that's like Trump or Hillary, like.
And in the sense,
but what you said is so, like, something like that, just that would be all we would need. That would be the jumpstart thing. If we could say,
right, but that's
nobody buy Nike, we buy Will Smith shoe or whoever.
Whatever.
I mean, whoever. But it somebody that a company that's truly our company, owned by just that part alone, would be a game changer.
But here's the thing:
no Nike, none.
We can start even smaller than that.
We have to.
We can start even smaller than that. I have not purchased any soap, lotion, hair product, toilet paper that was not sold or manufactured by a black company in a year at least.
A year.
We all got to have
toilet
soap.
paper from
Freedom paper.
Freedom paper.
Right here in Baltimore.
It's made here.
I don't know where it's made,
but it's distributed right
through a black guy.
So even so we have to start small. Like, so we can't continue to.
How much does it cost?
Well, I bought a case.
Reference to.
I bought a case of.
It's around the same. Well, it's cheaper.
Yeah, I bought a case of like 100 rolls for maybe $60 or something.
Yeah, it's more than.
But I'm willing. Here's the thing: we have to be willing to pay more. So I pay $3 a bar for soap.
But you don't have to. You can go right to Eastern Market and get from the black lady the
right
that smell good.
But I'm just saying, I'm willing to
10.
I'm willing to do so because that is what's necessary in order for us to build up in our community.
That part, but see, I don't know. I don't necessarily know how easy that is. I think it's easier. I think it's easier because when they think about it, they almost out and they got to do the quick thing.
But here's the thing: so planning, sacrifice.
Yeah,
revolutions are not done.
So this is my
strategy.
point. My point is this: what we're getting to now, when we get down to the granular level about how, let's start with soap or let's start with right. And what I have experienced over the last 10 years, trying to organize families and talking about and trying to get my own mind and my own family on one accord with this, is that we're talking about a complete culture shift.
Right.
Which for an individual has been, if I'm 44, it's been, I spent 35 years in the matrix. So it's going to take me whoever knows how long to get completely out of the matrix.
Right.
Right.
So we got to take baby steps.
Right.
So this is and here's the heroic thing that we have to think about and have to be willing to do. There are people in our history who we've been looking at who made a move, chopped a tree to build a house, knowing that the tree had to age for 10 years before you could even build with it, knowing that they would never see the complete house.
Yep.
That takes courage. And that's what we have to be doing now.
We got to get out of the instant gratification.
Sure.
The moves that some of the moves
Right.
that we're making,
Right.
that we're making as a family unit now, and when by family unit, here's another piece. Blood isn't always gonna work because our blood isn't necessarily ready to make certain family moves. They don't have the knowledge necessarily to make the family moves. They don't have the connection necessarily to make the family moves. So you have to create family where you find people who are on the same vibration as you. So most of the stuff that we're doing right now won't manifest for 7 generations. And we have to accept that. Some of the sacrifices I'm making today, I won't reap the benefits of. I have to be clear that we are setting the table for something that's to come. In the same way that 100 years ago, when some of our ancestors were sharecropping and doing all that they were doing.
What about the Middle Passage?
Just surviving, that they were setting the stage for the continuation of our lines.
Well, yeah.
So it's small, but we have to start small. I'm not saying let's not, get on Nike. That's not what I'm saying at all. But
I'm definitely saying let's do that.
I'm saying that also we have to start locally. We could make some 100,000 we could make some 10,000
Right.
and those things will incrementally, because we can't just jump out there. We have so much healing to do in how we shop. We shop and buy things. This whole thing about how we look, that's to cover up our inferiority complex. That's to cover up for how we feel about our skin and our hair and how we feel about each other. So I'm going to look fancy.
Right.
I'm going to wear Ralph Lauren. I mean, if you watch the documentary Fresh Dress and you just look how fashion and hip hop, how they became a business, how we set the trend, and here come these companies and they end up with everything, in their control.
And look, I'm not mad at you when you flossing, you looking shiny, because that's part of our genetic memory also. Like our cultural memory is to look shiny. Like we are the first ones to dig the gold up and put it and say, look, this just looks slick as a bitch. But I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. But what I'm saying is when you equate it with your self-worth, you're killing yourself.
Yep.
Right. And number two, when you spend it and you don't get anything back. Right. If I pull up in a Porsche to do Uber, I'm not getting any extra added value for that. Right. But if I pull up in the Porsche to pick up the investor to go out to lunch, I'm doing something. I could get money off of that, So when I'm riding around with a big ass truck, I don't got no family, I don't got no kids, but I'm paying $700-800 for this truck. For what? When we're making bad investments, it's just a bad investment, and it's no way to get away from that. Like a bad investment is a bad investment.
So one of the things we can do, like we just going to talk about solutions. One of the things we can do right here in Baltimore is we are intentional community building collective is running 100 accounts in 100 days initiative with Harbor Bank. And so basically you can go in there and say I'm with ICBC and you can get a no fee savings account, no minimum balance requirement, so that we can start supporting. This is another piece. It's not just about where we spend our money. It's about where we save our money. Right. So we have a black bank right here. Let's use them. Let's utilize that financial piece. They have financial literacy courses. They have a CDC. They're doing work with housing and providing technical assistance and loans to small businesses. So we have to build our economic base back. Shopping, saving, investing. We're even looking into getting some shares of ownership within the bank, because it's not just enough to save our money in the bank. We have to be able to direct what's going on with the bank. And the only way you can direct this through ownership. It goes back to ownership. We have to have ownership, not just of the physical stuff, but ownership of our culture. It's like Jesse Williams said, they commodify our culture and we end up being the least beneficiaries of the culture that we created. We really, if you look at American culture, the pop culture at least, though, that's a creation of African people. Jazz, hip hop, rock, there's nothing we haven't touched. Fashion, there's nothing. You can't find anything that we haven't touched. Henry Ford gets credit for the automobile when there was a black man who actually was making, automobiles first. Like the whole everything that has been created here is predicated on our labor, predicated on our ingenuity.
Even up to the moment.
Even
look at internet radio, all the hot shows of the black shows, right? All the hits. You look at Baltimore, look at Impact Hub in the Motor House, these new pop-up places. You look at Johns Hopkins, right? They don't get anywhere unless they have these little black faces over time that are doing X, Y, and Z, And so, what do we get back? I need my check.
Reparations. That's real. People don't want to talk about it, but we gotta get
reparations.
Reparations. Yes,
reparations, yo.
I know about reparations.
Yo, write a check.
I know about reparations, but
and MLK said we was here to collect the check.
Right.
Reparations.
1967 Martin Luther King. Niggas want to talk about 1963 Martin Luther King.
Reparations are going to get us what?
A check.
And then what we going to do with it? What are they going to do with the check?
What you mean? What we going to do?
What they going to do?
Well, if they do, they better. They would be.
They going to get a check back.
They would be good to do the check now, so that they can be assured to get it back
Right.
by the millions of sleep masses.
Right.
Right.
Correct.
Part of reparations that we talk about is we have to be prepared.
I don't think we want. I don't think we need reparations. Let me tell you why. Because if we get the reparations, right? First of all, whatever we quote unquote get is not going to be what it's worth. It's not going to be what is deserved, right? And so
you only get what you negotiate. You never get in life what you deserve. Never.
And then to top it off, once you give them once you get the reparations, now they can say, okay, everything's fair now. Everything's even. Everything's even. And then
they saying that now.
They already
that's what I'm saying.
that.
Fuck that.
Whatever, they can give me a check,
whatever we want, we need to take.
Oh, I agree with that too. And reparations would be the name I use.
Shit. You're not gonna get. You know what I mean? No,
right.
We're not saying we.
I'm going to use the word. Listen.
Well, I didn't know that. Okay,
black people in America is not given shit.
Correct.
Anything that we get, it's going because we took it. Yeah. And if we call it reparations and say, "Yo, this mine, this my piece," then that's what it is.
It's not reparations. It's not reparations.
Well, let's look. No, you have to call it reparations because of this one fact. Is it going to be a true representative repairing, which is the root word of reparations, right? Is it really going to be a repairing of all of the trauma? Hell to the no.
That's what I'm saying.
It is going to be symbolic. It is going to be symbolic. It is going to be accompanied with it's going to be a financial apology, right, from this country, and they would be smart to give it now while niggas is still asleep.
Because if you wait too long
to when we had to go and take it, then we would take it and we would never give it back.
I mean, I have such an issue with compensation for
ass whipping.
Yeah, I got a problem with that.
Well, I mean, yeah, I do too. I mean, because if you take my son and you break his spine, you sever his spine, throwing him around like meat, right, on camera. And then you say, hey, look, let me give you $6 million, right? To calm the fact that we never going to find nobody culpable at all.
But that's not what we're talking about when we talk about reparations, though.
Right? Then that's not fair. And that $6 million doesn't really equal up to that. So it's never going to be fair. I agree. However, write me that check, though.
But that's not reparations, though. Reparations is
compensation for the enslavement of.
No, reparations isn't just about compensations for enslavement, but yeah, it starts there. How about you compensate us for the wealth of the Southern planters generated by our ancestors' labor? And guess what? We know how much that was.
It can definitely be.
So
be figured
how
out.
about you run us
Right.
our money?
It's income
Wait a
replacement.
minute. So why don't you run us our money for that, right? Then we want you to run us our money for all the convict leasing you did when you were locking black people up after Reconstruction
Income
for not
replacement.
having jobs.
You can call it whatever you want to call it.
You can count that. We want that. We want all of our ancestors who served in World War I, in World War II, and in every conflict that did not get their veterans benefits. We want our money. Run it. We want every dime for being overcharged for properties. We want all of that. We want every dime, because see, what people don't understand about lynching. Lynching primarily in the South was not about somebody raped somebody. That's not what was happening. What was happening is black folks who had agricultural ingenuity out the yin yang were winning in farming in the South. So what are we going to do? We're going to run you off your land, run your family out of here, wait the 3-year state limit, and then take over your land.
Right.
We want our money. Run it. We want that. We need that. Every dime.
I'm confused about like what is the thing that you're saying against like reparations? Like what is I get there's this piece about
concept
not wanting a handout
and in theory.
Or
Definitely
whatever,
because that would make shit worse. That would make shit worse.
Yeah, I get it, but
where's the handout?
Because their mentality, because
we earned that.
It's no handout.
No, our ancestors earned it from their ancestors.
Pause, but they've been passing that wealth down.
We are connected to them.
Yeah.
There is no way to disconnect us from them.
See, that's true. That's true.
Living on the land.
That's true too.
They benefiting from it.
I feel that we can't, if we got reparations, I think that shit would be worse for us because this thought process would be like
8-year-old a $20 bill. We get it.
Yeah.
You're gonna buy all the candy in the world, and the $20
gonna be worse.
Gone. I get it.
It's gonna be worse.
I get it, but that doesn't.
We're gonna create more. We would create more addiction.
It's old.
It's old.
They still benefiting.
But
you know
who was old too?
Old.
It was owed to our ancestors.
Yes.
And we're here to collect.
They should have got it.
Yes.
We're here to collect it.
So do you think that because they're dead, that means that their benefit died? Because if that's the case, right?
I think that
if that's the case, then when you die, all the shit you're gonna leave to your children, I'm gonna take that because their benefit
it's
died.
not the same thing.
It is
exactly the same thing.
It is the same. They got rich on our ancestors' labor. When they died, that wealth passed to the next generation that they have been passing down successively
Not
in
only
generations.
Did they pass the money, they passed a custom of brutalizing and exploiting the brown and African people, which has expanded from a physical and intentional and chattel exploitation into a mental endeavor, which is now called the education system. I don't know why we call it that. That's a complete misnomer, right?
Sure.
And into a marketing system, right? Global marketing, that every single thing says brown people, you're not worthy, you're not worth anything. And that has had a cumulative effect on us. So that means that you took our money, right? Passed it to your kids, right? Your kids came and used the money that you stole from us to further push us down.
What makes you, I mean, you preach to the choir,
right?
Well, what makes you think that the most violent, the most,
that's why we said take.
The most backstabbing,
that's why we
heartless.
That's why we said take.
Individuals on the planet
are
going to say, "Yeah, you're right. We fucked up here." No, that's never going to happen.
That's why we said take.
And that's why we said take.
The way that we take it in this current system is by
towing the line.
By what?
You think it's towing the line?
By what?
Well, first of all, I'm gonna give you a perfect example.
We
can destroy the concept of working twice as hard to get half as far.
Yeah,
that's number one.
Hell with that shit.
Not doing that.
I agree. We gotta work smart.
We have to work smart.
Right.
Also, it's very simple.
Because like I said, like a George Bush, like President Obama, much more on his feet than George Bush. He had to be 50 times as good, right?
Only
George
if you
Bush
chasing
Jr. I'm talking about.
Only if you chase an American dream.
I'm just saying in anything.
Not to get in.
I'm just saying in anything. He
Not to
got
get
in. George Bush Jr. I call him George Bush Jr. got in strictly on the family name
Right.
alone. That was it.
Right.
Okay.
And
nothing
money.
else going
money.
on.
Right.
And,
money.
the grandfather's money.
Okay.
It don't matter who money.
That's what I'm saying.
money.
But the family money, family
You
family
can't
name.
take money out the equation. Money,
Right. Family
equals
money,
power. Right?
family money,
And
family
influence.
name, and you know
Whiteness.
the brain power, the
and
whiteness.
whiteness.
And whiteness.
And whiteness.
and that. All of those things come out. Now, how can we get to that level?
We don't want to get.
Why
to
do
that
we
level.
want to get to that level? I don't want
We
to
never
lose my
wanna get to that
humanity
level.
trying to be behind.
But you don't have to do that.
You do.
You do.
You think
Whiteness,
so?
whiteness is achieved by losing your
name me
humanity.
one person, brown or pink, whatever.
Hasn't happened yet.
Doesn't matter.
It hasn't happened yet.
No, name me one person who you know who is at that level, right?
President
and,
Obama.
and still has their humanity intact.
When you say at that level, I mean they've done a lot of crimes. Well, so let's just say the level is as the in the highest office, President Obama.
Okay. So
He's the
here's
first.
Here's where
He's the first. I don't think he'll be the last.
So here's where I depart from a lot of you brown people, right? I'm not an Obama fan.
You don't have to.
Number one,
I mean, some people are not a Jordan
fan.
fan.
You have to be a huge megalomaniac to even want to run this country.
Sure.
To hold that office.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Secondly, you have to order the wholesale slaughter of innocent people for a perceived threat, not to your American human beings, but to the money and influence that is come to be known as American.
You
Hence,
cannot
losing your humanity.
you cannot
his
hold that
humanity.
job
Hence-
without doing that.
You
hence
cannot
losing-
hold that job
without doing
losing your
Hence,
humanity.
You have lost humanity.
Not the whole thing, not the sum total of it, but a portion of
you
it.
cannot be, you know, a commander in chief of a military
Absolutely.
without doing that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
I disagree with that. You can be the commander in chief of a military and not order the wholesale slaughter of innocent people.
I don't see how you can do that because I don't see how you can do it. How is that possible? There's never been any
What is the
army in
purpose of
history that hasn't killed
What is
people.
the purpose of an army? It starts with a D. The real
Defense.
easy
No, that's
word.
not the purpose.
That is the purpose.
That's one purpose.
No, that is the purpose.
No, because there's another thing that starts with a C.
It's called inhumane.
No, you got defense and conquering.
Which is
Those are the two
inhuman.
things.
That's
No,
when you start
I think that's
losing
the
your
epitome
humanity.
of humanity.
Conquering.
What conquering is
Yes.
the epitome
How-
of
how
humanity.
so?
Sure.
Okay.
How
But
is
that's
conquering?
that is a huge part, and we just stumbled on it. It's great that we use these words. That is a huge part of the American complex.
No.
It's a huge
No.
part of the American complex.
I don't want us to get it twisted, and we do this a lot. African Americans were not the first or only people that were enslaved.
Who said that?
There have been
Who said that?
slaves
Who said
throughout
that?
history.
Who said that?
We are the
Where
first
there's
people.
been- where
We are the
there's-
first people to be in chattel slavery, though.
Right.
That's a fact.
Every army,
So, I mean,
you
if
can
you
go
wanna go
back
back-
to ancient
Yes,
times,
we can go back
Rome.
to the first
The
army.
people that lost, they enslaved the people who were conquered. That
And
was
it's
that was
still-
part of the thing.
And it's still right. And this is why I'm saying it's American. A key piece of the American psyche, right, is that you must leave a space where it is okay for you to go outside
Yep.
of what you have earned and take what somebody else has earned for a perceived betterment
Of
right,
yourself.
of yourself, and that's okay.
That
That's
is
inhuman.
that happened.
That's
That's
a-
prior to. That's something that America learned,
From
perfected.
where?
Oh, yeah,
From
yeah,
where?
we
Europe.
absolutely- Yes.
Okay.
Europe.
Okay, so what you're saying is that is a present part of American psyche that comes from
Its mother.
its mother and history,
Unfortunately, yes.
right? All right. So what I'm trying to tell you is this is just another way where you have to see where who you were before and who was before you absolutely is with you right now today. Right.
I mean, there's nothing new under the sun. There's been, right. I mean, they had sexual urges in ancient times. Right. That's not going nowhere. Absolutely. They had urges of we have a belief. Right. And I think that for the most part, our beliefs are in line. Right. Now, let's say that, I mean, this is how this works. We have our belief. We have our family. We have some other people that believe what we believe. Right. The next village doesn't believe what we believe. We want to spread what we doing, so we conquer that village, right? And it doesn't happen without force, right? But in our minds, we're trying to spread this knowledge that we have, and they don't understand that they're doing things wrong. So we got to do it by force.
But I want you to understand, and this is why the American piece comes very important into play. There are plenty of places on the planet where this conquering idea never happened.
Like where?
All throughout the Congo, all throughout the Nordic regions, those countries were. You look at Sweden and all that. They didn't go out. They didn't go out and
conquer the world. They didn't make the world England.
Right?
That was the English motto: make the world England.
Right. That, and it's not prevalent. And this is another scale piece, right? When we say we make these comments like most African Americans this and most African American that, and we don't really understand the scale, right? We have accepted as a part of the American indoctrination that at some point it's okay to go out and conquer because that's part of the human condition, when it's really not.
I disagree.
Of course.
Okay, perfect.
I disagree.
Perfect example.
Of course you do.
If in fact waging war and just killing everybody to maintain,
I didn't say anything about. I didn't say anything about killing.
Give an example. You
killing. I said conquer.
You definitely did say killing. But
I said that killing comes with the presidency of this country.
If that was the case, if that was the accepted norm all over the world, the Europeans would have never conquered America, because the First Nations would have slaughtered every one of them as they came off the boat. That isn't what happened, because that was not their ethic.
What do you mean?
Was not their ethic.
You talking about the
I'm talking about the First Nations people. All 500 of them.
The First Nation, what? They fought?
I didn't say they didn't fight.
And killed.
I didn't say they didn't kill.
So it's only bad if somebody else comes and kills us, which is the whole problem that we have.
That's not what I'm saying.
It's cool if we kill each other, but the police kill us is an issue.
If their ethic was conquering, the First Nations, they squabble between each other. There's a difference of opinion. If their ethic
chest poking, somebody end up dead.
If their ethic was conquering,
that's not conquering.
If their ethic was conquering, the European never would have lasted here.
Sure.
If they
won the fight, they had better weapons and they were more deceptive.
Here's the thing. No, it's not. The only reason why the Europeans survived is because the First Nations helped them. They never. But they were deceptive.
Yes,
they never would.
Yes, but that's part of the deception.
So my point is that all societies, all people, do not have the same conquering ethic. That is not. I didn't say all people
have that. That's why some people win, and some people win first, some people second.
Not a part of the human condition. It's not a
survival, because some people look at it. I say it is because some people look at it as survival. You always are going to have somebody who's greedy. If you want to take it back to biblical times, or whether you want to take it to Roman times, you're going to have somebody who wants more than what they're supposed to have, and are willing to do more than the average. So all you need is one person with that mindset that can manipulate the minds of people without.
But that's the whole point. That one person,
Cain and Abel, whether that was real or not,
that one person,
that's the mentality.
But that one person does not dictate the sum total of what the human experience is.
Right.
All peoples do not have a conquering.
One person.
That's not the.
All right, but that's different than what we talking about.
But I'm saying, but it's in there. But that person can manipulate.
The point that we're
Hitler was able to manipulate a bunch of people and with the mind of preaching. In his mind, he knew what he was preaching, but he said it in a way that the people could be manipulated into feeling something that he wanted them to feel to get done what he wanted to get done.
Let me get this. You're saying it's a minority opinion that can be put out over the people.
Yeah.
Right. That's exactly my point.
Yeah, there's no but I'm saying, but
look,
if that
look
one person,
exactly
but listen, but once that one person comes,
America, right? America is a product, right, of a minority opinion in the world.
Sure.
So my whole point was that this idea of greed and conquer and all this stuff,
everybody wasn't doing that.
That is not by far what is the average for the human condition. That's not how.
But the average is manipulated by whatever it is. So if you
drop one ice cube in the ocean, you might change the temperature. Like,
no, you won't. But
yeah, you absolutely could.
The temperature in that one little spot.
If you measure it down far enough, one ice cube could change the temperature in the ocean
for 30 seconds.
It don't matter. It doesn't matter.
That just change.
Doesn't matter. The ocean. Fact is that it has a change. I think that whiteness is here like an ice cube in the ocean.
Whiteness? Which one?
Yes, whiteness. It's a thing we created. You know,
right? It has no.
Oh, you mean like a way you talk or something like that? No, the way you act? That what you mean?
I mean, whatever characteristics, right, that you could put together and say, okay, yes, this is what white is. Because it's not a thing. It's not a genetic thing.
Has no scientific
basis.
What we know is white.
And that's the only thing that makes something a thing if it got scientific basis. There are a lot of things that exist without scientific basics that are things.
And I'm not saying that it doesn't have. I'll say it doesn't have.
It's a slang term. It's a slang term.
It has no scientific basis.
It's a descriptive term. It doesn't say it's a descriptive term that you know what it means. So it is a thing. It's a thing.
It is a thing.
It's a thing. Just like hip hop is a thing. It was something creative.
But it's a created thing.
Yeah.
Right. It's a created thing. It has no natural just.
Why you say that?
Right to.
I mean, I think.
Exist.
I mean,
race is not real.
Yeah, but to describe it. It's lacking rhythm. It's not hip. It
could be all
it's all those kind of things.
You want to do.
Yeah.
But the point is, going back to the original statement, is that whiteness is a thing that is like an ice cube in the ocean. It's here. It'll have its effect in some minimal way over the whole span of humanity. And it'll go away. Right?
Whiteness.
Yeah.
Okay.
And one of the central characteristics of that.
What about blackness?
Is this exactly? But conversely, because whiteness was created, or blackness was created for the purpose of delineating who was white from
everybody else.
So we know that, right? These are things we know. And the point is that they will both go away, white and black, just like that ice cube in the ocean. And this idea that we've been operating on for too long, that
conquering is
like, oh, that's part of whiteness. It's not part of humanity. It's part of whiteness. And I want us to be separating what it is to be an American from what whiteness is.
If it wasn't, then Africans would have left Africa and went to Europe and conquered. If it was true, then the Indians would have left the Indian subcontinent and went to Europe. And be clear, Indians and Africans both had the ability to circumnavigate the world.
The Indians did not. The Africans did. Indians did not.
Okay.
How did they get there, bro?
What do you mean?
How did they get there?
What? What are you talking about?
How did they get from Eastern Africa?
The Indians?
Yes. Now, which Indians are we talking about?
Are we talking about in East India? We're talking about real
Eastern
Indians.
Asians.
We talking about
basically you're talking about Asians. Who are you talking about? Because I want to be talking about the same people.
Here's what I'm saying.
Because if you're talking about the Africans who came to South America and North America on the ice bridge in South America, right? But
those were descendants of the native, what they call the Native Americans. Those the Native Americans were descendants of them.
Correct.
Right.
Okay. After many years, many years, they were not the same people that came.
Okay, so how many?
How many people?
How many? I mean, because right now you're talking about the difference between a Nordic person who is a descendant of East Africans, right? And
everybody is descendant of
exactly.
Africans.
So my point is, at what point? Where's the line at?
Yeah, the line clearly exists because when we speak about reparations, if the line didn't exist, then we wouldn't say
that's social. That's not.
We wouldn't say
you're
that.
Talking about genetics.
I'm saying, I'm saying,
is a social question.
I'm saying, how did Africans get to this continent?
On boats.
No, I mean, were they conquered? Or yes.
Not all Africans that came here were conquered. First, you got at least 4 or 5 instances where Africans were in America.
Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
4 or 5 documented occurrences where Africans who left Africa in boats in the 13 and 1400s and came to the Americas. So Africans were able.
Sure. But
and if they were able to do that,
I ain't talking about that. I ain't talking about that part.
Well, let's go to the big.
You know the point that I'm trying to make. You know where I'm going is in the slave trade. How did they come here? By force.
Right.
They were conquered and brought here for that purpose.
Right.
Okay.
The American Indian, the Native Americans, what happened to the vast degree of their population during that same time?
They were assimilated or marginalized
and murdered.
And killed
and murdered. Why were they murdered? Or how did they lose that physical fight?
Technology.
Right. Not all technology. Some of it was smallpox. See,
that too.
Which is a technology.
That's technology.
It's
they just
technology.
that's
why I didn't say weapons.
Yeah. So the Europeans were fought dirtier and fought harder and won that fight against the American Indian, in my opinion. You disagree?
I don't think it matters. I think you're making a bigger point.
So, but my bigger I am making a bigger point, and the bigger point is that the Native Americans and the Africans in this instance were conquered by the Europeans.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we as African descendants of Africans survived better. I think that the reason why our population wasn't done the way theirs was because we were stronger people.
We
were a commodity.
Or no,
we were a commodity, but
also
because
and they would not allow them. Well, maybe not stronger. They would not allow themselves to be enslaved.
And all Africans, that's a misnomer. But all Africans were not defeated, like conquered, right? So
if they brought us here in the boat, we lost that fight.
Right. We didn't start conquering Africa, right, so to speak, until like the late 1800s and 1900s.
When you say conquered,
yeah.
Okay, so maybe
conquer Africa, because you got to understand that the slave trade was alive and well.
Sure.
Before the white man got there.
Yeah, the Arabs.
Sure, absolutely.
Which means that
there were slave trades in the Roman times.
Right, which means that you can go and buy some slaves and bring them across.
Bring them anywhere.
Right. So
that's a part. That means that slavery is as old as sex.
Right. So that means you spent money, and then you risk that money in bringing them across the water, right?
Many died on the way
to Brazil, which is where 70% of African slaves came to, right? Because it's not that long a trip, right? So you risk that, and you got them there, right? And you brought them there, and you cared for them because they're a commodity at this point.
Cared is an interesting choice of word.
Okay, so we can say that, whatever you want to say, whatever you would do for a group of pigs that you intend to make bacon.
You took care of your property.
You took care of your property, right?
Yep.
So the idea that there were men there already who were ready to fight you to not do that, and you had to slaughter them.
Yeah.
Right. Because they already knew the terrain. They had so much advantage on you, and they had it was home field advantage on you, and they had the idea that these people will wage war on you until you die, until they die. Right? Yep. Those are the things the characteristics that you have to really put in play. You can't just say Africans were stronger, so they're the ones that's just not true. And
what I'm trying to say, what I'm trying to say is,
right. What not to mention, people like me exist, right?
It's not even that.
Which is
the Native Americans.
My blood is Native American, right?
Everybody
right?
Probably
and
has a bit
African
of that in there,
and Irish, right? So that means that whose account of the numbers do we have to say what percentage of the Native Americans actually died, and as opposed to how many became slaves, as opposed to how many went on and left free and led free lives.
Yeah, I mean, so
who's counting?
We can challenge. I'm saying we can challenge the counts, obviously, but right. the thing is that the Native Americans lived outside, like in their own, area, and then they kept pushing it back, and taking their land. Taking more land, pushing them further west until they just.
That is a narrative of
that's a truth.
Movies.
That's a truth.
Who's truth?
That's unfortunately the truth of this country. That actually happened.
Who's proof?
So you're saying that that's a lie?
I'm saying
you're saying that the Native Americans weren't killed?
I'm saying you don't know.
We do know. We know that.
How do you know? Tell me how you know.
What do you mean? That has been passed down through the Native Americans as well.
Right. Cowboy movie.
The Native American people have said this. Yes, this is true.
So
absolutely.
Absolutely. This is the narrative.
Listen, they didn't lie and say we killed Indians.
Right.
They would lie and say they didn't. They wouldn't lie and say we did kill them when we didn't.
This is the narrative that I got. The narrative that I got says that yes, there were battles, there were skirmishes. Yes, the rifle was, and the invention of the rifle and the introduction of the horses and things like that gave the so-called white man a technological advantage, right? Yes, it absolutely did.
Yeah.
But this resilient people did a whole bunch of bargaining and a whole bunch of assimilation to survive the same way.
Oh, definitely.
The same way our ancestors did.
It was treacherous
on those boats. And in those intake facilities and what have you that we survived once we got here, right? And the story that's being told and the so-called counting and accounting that's being fed to you by the oppressor who wants to glorify himself, right? Is to not be trusted.
I don't think it's any glory in it. I mean, but he wants to glorify himself, but I don't see any glory. I don't see the glory in it.
But you don't see the glory in it.
Yeah.
And still you would say conquering.
You use those words.
Yes. Because here's why. Here's
language and said it is the only way that things can be and that things were. And that, in fact, is not.
I disagree. And let me.
Right.
I disagree.
That's
I disagree because conquering is not only death. Conquering is winning. So conquering is winning. So if you have an idea and you have an idea and I disagree, and in the end I agree, right?
Conquering is winning for who?
My mindset was conquered. You won. I agree with you. We're on the same page. Now, whether you can talk to me and we get that, or whether you had to kick my ass and we got it. You get that.
Right.
So if the next person behind me says, oh shit, don't do that. I agree with you. You ain't gotta do what you did to him to me.
Right.
Conquer. So whether it's by force or whatever it is, it's an ideal.
But what you just demonstrated, right? And I want you to understand this, that the history that we have read and the history that has been passed down to us through a white, so-called white, European-based system, right? The history that has been passed down to us tells you that the white man is a conqueror. The white man is a winner. It's one more way.
Because conquering isn't winning by definition.
It's one.
The fight is never over.
That it indoctrinates.
The fight is never over. So you know, all the countries in Europe have been conquered. Somebody won for a while. Some regimes in charge that gets overturned. Countries get renamed. Imaginary lines drawn. Mesopotamia, you know, is in the Middle East. It's called this. It's called that. It's just, you know what I mean? Just regime change.
The Middle East itself.
It's just, the Middle East. I'm saying
it's really Africa.
It's always you know, somebody's in charge for a little while and then somebody else comes. Absolutely. That's just the way it is.
The European continent.
Whoever. You know what I'm saying? I mean, whatever we call it, the names change. You know what I mean? But it's my thing is there's always going to be people with different opinions, right? And that some people that want to get their things done by force. Some people want to talk first. Some people have no time for talking. So I mean, it's all that. It's gonna be fight. It's always gonna be fighting and disagreements.
Right. But that doesn't mean it's always gonna be conquering.
Right. It is.
But okay.
That it always.
It is.
No, I definitely don't.
This country will probably fall one day. Not in our lifetime. Well, if Donald Trump comes, maybe, but in our lifetime, I don't think the way that things are right now, the way this country is, 200 years from now, it's gonna probably be totally different.
But it might not be. That could be, but it doesn't mean it will be a conquered nation.
Sure will. It's not gonna fall without bloodshed and some type of fighting.
Well, Rome fell from inside.
All the
which would mean it wasn't conquered.
Rome had problems from within, but they were conquered by German, France, barbarians, so-called barbarians. Rome called anybody that wasn't Roman barbarians for the most part, but they fell. But they still, the empire was split after, leadership change, that kind of thing, level of people in charge, fighting, but it still came from bloodshed and fighting.
Doesn't mean something can be conquered without a fight.
Disagree. Because somebody on the outside sees a weakness and we want to take.
Oh, you can be conquered from the inside without a fight.
You can be
weakened. Defeat your computer system from the inside without a fight.
No, I'm gonna fight you for it. Give me my computer. But after you do something to my computer, then so if your goal was to damage my computer, right? You damage the computer's fucked up, right? And then other people say, well, he ain't been in there in a while. We can just go in there and rape and pillage. Now the shit's fucked up. Right. So, I mean, it's just other people sense the weakness and then we want to take their goods. We want to take their resources because it comes down to resources or stuff I got. We want to take their women. We want to take their gold. We want to take their camels. We want to, whatever the fuck it is, somebody else is going to want to take our commodities. No? Fuck it. He's already. No, they're gonna take. That's what men do. Humans do.
I don't know about that.
You all think that humans are inherently good.
I never said that.
So they're bad.
I never said that either.
I don't think good and bad. I don't believe in polarities. Right. What you're really talking about is polarity, right?
Absolutely.
Polarity is we all fall on a scale somewhere.
Right. Good, bad, or somewhere in between.
Every concept that we talked about tonight, right? We fall on a scale somewhere. Right? So if you're talking about the ways that countries fall and rise and what have you, I think that violent armed conflict, right, is somewhere way on one side of the scale, right? Mm-hmm. And then political evolution is on another scale.
Greece might fall because of
is on another
without any outside anything, without any war, Greece could fall because of the economic conditions.
And so,
once that happens, you get
without any bloodshed. Yes, absolutely.
Successful revolutions not gonna happen without bloodshed.
That's just not true.
Name one. Successful revolution without bloodshed. Finland had bloodshed.
In 2006.
When you say fell, define fell.
I said revolution.
You can have a revolution without.
Define revolution.
We lock up all the bankers and completely revolutionize the way we do money in our country, and the way we
was that
do politics.
That was Greenland. I think it was 2008.
Greenland? I don't think it was Greenland.
Iceland. One of them.
Iceland.
One of them. They locked up all the bankers. It was 2008 because it was a subprime mortgage crisis.
Exactly. Complete revolution.
As in change in government?
There was some big changes in government that they didn't go and rip a guy down and
that ain't no revolution.
It's not a revolution.
I guess it's a revolution, but
it's a complete. If somebody, I guarantee you, if you got a mortgage, if somebody came and forgave your mortgage, like, nah, yo, you good, you don't owe that no more. That's a revolution.
And that's exactly what happened.
And that's just a recent example. But there's been plenty of other times where people, through referendum in a country, have voted to completely repeal something. There was this little thing that happened in South Africa. What was it called? Apartheid or some shit. And they completely, repealed all of that, from inside without massive bloodshed. There was a little bit of bloodshed, I gotta say.
Yeah.
No disrespect.
For the most part,
that's revolution.
The incident that y'all referencing, y'all reaching, but the incident that y'all referencing, I mean, okay. They kind of changed how they did some debt management. Okay. But
you owed a mortgage. Now you don't owe it. And you're one of millions of people who now don't owe theirs. That's not revolution to you?
Here's the thing.
If I wipe out your credit card debt right now.
All that is
if I tell you don't have to pay no more rent,
debt,
you could just stay
that's
there.
just replacing debt. That's just moving debt from us to somebody else. It still exists.
They didn't. It doesn't exist.
The bankers went to jail.
Yeah.
Right.
People did not have to pay a mortgage anymore.
Right.
That was it. The bank was out their money.
Period.
That's it.
That's what I'm saying. So somebody else.
Nobody else. There is nobody else. That's it. That is revolutionary.
Yeah. So they had a crash and basically nobody got paid now. That's revolution to y'all. That's the change. The change is we don't owe this money.
Well, you got to understand. You got to understand that any way where
that's a banking crisis. They just mad. They just using revolution because that's a good buzzword. So
revolution to you is only.
I don't know. It's only violence.
France had a revolution.
France has had several revolutions,
and
only a few of them
right before Napoleon. Right, that was a revolution. Okay, America had a revolution.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? These are revolutions to me. The establishment of a country. Yeah, I don't see how you can have any lasting revolution.
And thorough replacement of an established government or political system by the people governed.
That doesn't happen without force.
It's just not true.
It doesn't happen. The people in charge are not gonna turn over the keys without some type of consequences and repercussions.
So presidents don't step down
without consequences and repercussions. No.
But consequences and repercussions don't necessarily mean violence.
Or the threat of violence. Yeah. The threat of violence. Yes. Why? How do you? And the president stepping down is not a revolution. So the revolution would be the government was democratic and now we doing something else, or the government was communist and now it's democratic.
That's never happened.
Sure, but not without bloodshed. Castro and the Cuban rebels helped overthrow that government. That was a lot of bloodshed, and it was a change in government and people.
It was relatively little bloodshed.
Well, it was relatively. Well, relatively, okay, relatively, but there was bloodshed. you know, and they've been fought Spain, you know, before. There's a lot. Yeah.
Finland, Norway, aren't they now constitutional democracies? They never, I don't recall any of them having a war, they went from monarchies to democracies with no war. It's at least 5 Nordic countries.
That's not a revolution. That's just voting.
Okay. Going from one form
I'll concede that point.
But I think the revolution.
That's not the definition of the word, though.
Right. I think
it's not the definition of the word.
So a revolution is overthrowing. Do we agree on that?
But you can overthrow without violence. I just gave.
That's not a revolution.
According to the definition of the word, it is.
Are you talking about the European definition?
We're speaking English.
Y'all used that on me earlier in definition. Y'all use that one.
Yeah,
I'm glad we're recording this.
Absolutely.
We got to get out of here. My goodness.
We can go all night.
We can literally go all night.
We have done it.
We have. Yeah, I know y'all have.
We don't got no liquor though. That's the problem.
Right, that's the only.
We have to do this more often. We didn't even get on Marilyn Mosby and how she's a hero. Yes.
Oh, you're not gonna hit no button on that one?
I'm sorry, you're right.
Actually, she would be a shit.
Marilyn Mosby is a hero. Not to the police, though. Not the crooked ones.
Fuck them.
How is she a hero when she lost, bro?
In the American paradigm, heroes don't lose.
I disagree with that. I disagree with that.
You're not going to hit the button on that? You're not going to hit the button?
Nah.
What American heroes lost?
American heroes?
What American heroes
You're not going to hit
lost?
the chirp on that? Hit the chirp.
What American heroes lost? Plenty.
Who?
Plenty.
Who?
First we have to define. First we have to. He lost the cancer. He lost his bout to cancer. Okay. He lost his bout to cancer. First we have to define. Here's why Marilyn Mosby is a winner and a hero. She's a winner and a hero because here's the thing. First of all, you do not win all your fights. Okay.
Well, which one?
You turn.
She just got a 5-piece.
You turn
and a biscuit.
I mean, here's the thing. Why are we turning on Marilyn Mosby?
We not turning on her.
I'm just saying.
You know how many cases
she's not a hero.
State's attorneys lose? Come on now. How many cases do they lose?
How many cases against the police has she won?
How many high-profile cases?
Most people don't have the fucking balls
and still have a job.
She don't have balls
or the cajon or the the guts.
Thank you.
Play with words today.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Wow.
That's this petty shabazz right here.
Most state's attorneys don't have the guts or the courage to do that. So for that fact alone, she's a winner. The fact that she stood up as a black woman in America, in Baltimore City,
which we've been doing since the beginning.
Attorneys standing up and bringing charges against the police. The fact that she had the guts to do that alone makes her a winner.
Remember
the fact that she still is holding to her convictions and still got the same attitude, don't have a head between her legs. Like I done seen many a Negro get up in front of those cameras and cry and whine and do all kind of shit. She ain't do none of that shit. She's a fucking winner in my book.
Good. We're not saying she's not a winner.
So she lost the case. Yeah. I don't think that's gonna be the last case she brings up. And yeah. So and she's won cases. She just didn't win that case. That case, like she said, and it's true, is unwinnable in the current system.
All right, I'm gonna just say this. I don't dislike her. I think she and Nick are a great couple. I think that they add to our community, right? And I'm not a lawyer. I'm not even in the legal field in any way, shape, or form, right? Nor do I desire to be. Nor do I desire to be. My comment in saying that I would not just come out and say, "Oh, she's a hero," is because I have several legal experts in my family and in my immediate community who have hit me to a couple of things, right, about this particular case and about this particular administration. And the things that really jump out to me are, number one, it is my personal opinion that she allowed the atmosphere to cause her to rush to which charges to file before the investigation into the thing was complete. And I point to as evidence.
That is so crazy.
I point to as evidence, right? The fact that
What do you call rush? What do you call rush?
That before she was finished. It doesn't matter if it
What do you
takes
call
2
rush?
years. There are yes.
It's not supposed. We have been conditioned to think that it takes that long.
Well,
it doesn't take that long. You know, Suge Knight still hasn't. Suge Knight still ain't even finished his trial yet for some guy that he killed allegedly last year.
Exactly. Let me tell you what I know about
that's taking too long.
Let me tell you what I know about the system. Right. The system says that every lead, right, that we have, every piece of information should have multiple sources of confirmation. So if I believe that this police officer did X, Y, and Z, I should have at least 2 witness accounts, or maybe a witness account and some forensic evidence. I should have multiple source confirmation on each one of these allegations.
They do.
And I should be able to prove that.
The police did not cooperate.
Of course they didn't.
My thing is this,
means that it's going to
the problem. She had to bring the case, and it wasn't winnable. But she had to do this to show and shine a light as to how flawed the system is.
Who didn't know that?
I think that
Who the hell didn't know that?
I think that it has to. You got to rub it in their face. You got to rub it in their face.
That's a political motive. I don't think that she
rub
thought
what
that.
in their face.
I don't think she thought about that.
I don't think she thought that initially.
Yeah,
no,
I think
that might be rewriting history after the fact and drawing the bullseye around it after it's on the wall.
Right.
But
rub what in their face though?
No, I mean it has to be. The only way that shit changes is by it consistently being brought to the forefront.
Even in the police manual, right?
The manual that they changed, that they didn't let that be in evidence because he allegedly didn't read it or get it or some other bullshit. That's all that is bullshit.
Well, you have to base a case on something. And
if it was you or me,
I have all the sympathy
all that shit
in the
wouldn't
world.
apply.
I have all the sympathy in the world for her, because not only is she carrying that brown on her, not only is she carrying a vagina, right, on her, which are all strikes against her in this hyper masculine society, right? Not only is she trying to cross the fat blue line. Right. Not only is she trying to bring justice with, not enough money for investigators, not enough equipment, not enough access to even mentorship, right, for herself and her staff. Right. I know there's a million different reasons why. Right. And so for all those reasons, hey, she probably did the best she could with what she had. However, that all of that together does not equal hero to me. Right?
If she did, because this case was unwinnable, if she did nothing and didn't file charges,
what is an unwinnable case? I don't know nothing.
The way the current system is, she wouldn't have been able to get.
They convict people who ain't do shit all the time.
I don't know nothing about.
So they do unwinnable shit all the time.
The police cooperate in those cases.
Okay,
they weren't cooperating.
And that's the problem. That's why she's not a hero. She's not a hero because she underestimated her enemy. That's why you're not a hero.
Let me ask y'all this question. If she did not bring charges and she did what most state's attorneys do in those type of situations, which is not bring charges, y'all would be talking crazy about her because she didn't do it. But because she did it,
doesn't make her a hero.
The system,
it doesn't make her a hero.
Which is flawed to not convict police officers.
It doesn't make her a hero.
We agree with all of this you're saying.
We're just saying
she's
not
in a
hero.
no-win situation.
If the only way to win is to be a hero in this situation,
then
she tried to get justice for.
That doesn't make you a hero.
She tried to get justice for the victim of some police brutality.
If I try to save you from the car running you over, does that make me a hero?
Yes.
Okay.
I thought winning was the only thing.
Nah,
that
I mean, yeah, that's cool.
If you try, how about this? If you try to save me, but you're unsuccessful, but you tried,
that makes
but
me
I
a
still
hero.
died.
That makes me a hero.
If I still died,
I thought winning was.
So the people that went in the
yeah. How about this? How about you save me? I mean, you try to save me. You don't save me, but your attempt saves the lives of others. But my life is
we have
lost.
yet to see that.
In fact, didn't the police just kill a young woman today?
To see that with her.
No, I'm saying if that's in that
if
scenario,
something results
in that scenario, if she saves other people,
if something results down the line,
why
and we
is
don't
she a
see
hero
that,
for doing her job though?
because most of those white people
'Cause it's
don't do
America.
that job.
But it doesn't matter.
You're right.
That's not
Most
hero.
of those white
what's
people
hero-
don't do that
What's
job
heroic about that?
because
though?
they're all in cahoots.
Well, what's heroic about
What's
it?
heroic about it?
The fact that she had the courage to go against the norm. I'm sure she got many a little dumbass letter in her mailbox, or people playing on her phone, or text message, or whatever the equivalent is.
So her being black is heroic, because that's what she just was.
Her,
she was just
no,
black.
no. If she had been a white district attorney, which it wouldn't have happened, but if she had been a white district attorney, they would have gave her the whole little threatening bullshit, the whole little FOP games, that whole shit. Whoever it was, they do that to police officers too.
Serious.
They do that to police officers too. That want to.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. White,
FOP
black, Spanish, yeah, all of that. She got. So she.
They don't want it with me, but
she put her.
Gene Ryan still ain't
I don't know if
responded to my email.
I don't know if it's
he a whore.
She could have made things more comfortable for herself by going another way.
So
and she chose not to, and that took courage. And that took courage.
So
the courage makes her a hero.
What makes her a hero?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Well,
her courage to do what's right.
Every day I walk out the door.
Her courage to do what is right. Yes.
I mean,
that's everybody don't do that. Don't act like everybody do that.
But that's just a lowered bar for what we would call hero, though.
Yeah, I mean, you got different level. That's not a hero. Yeah, so she's not a hero.
Typically, that's.
Well, give me an example of a hero. One example of a hero, please, before we go.
She was doing her job. Good job.
Everybody doesn't do their job.
Hey.
So you say I'm over. I mean, most states attorney people do that.
I understand why.
I'm saying if everybody before you in your job, whatever your job was, if everybody before you was a 6 out of 10 and you came in on 8, they would applaud you and laud you and give you whatever they could give you.
And the next person behind you might be a 9 because of my 8.
Or they might be a 7.
I mean,
or they might be a 3.
Right. Anybody. So
sure. But rolling the dice.
Right. But being a 8 in a world of 6s, right? That's the same as saying in a blind world, the one-eyed man is king. Right?
He is.
So, okay, we'll give it to you. But that's a lowered bar. Like it's still a lowered bar.
It's still higher than it was, and that's growth.
Is it?
You think that the
I'm saying that she. Come on now, we can't agree that the state's attorneys historically would not have brought that case, and the fact that she did it, even though she lost because the system is flawed. Even though it's like that, the fact that she brought the case she don't get no credit for that.
Did she lose because the system is flawed, or did she lose because she didn't present the right case?
The system is flawed.
The system is flawed, but did she also lose because she didn't present the right case? Did she also lose because she didn't go hard enough against the police?
I think she went as hard as she could go.
I don't think so.
I think she went as hard as she could go.
I don't think
because
so.
because we have too many of.
I think where was the conspiracy
citizens. We have too many citizens that.
Where was the conspiracy charge?
That don't support that. I think that the Trump card that they played, for lack of a better word,
citizen support is the basis for how we charge them.
The Trump card was the unprecedented fact that nobody not talked about, that they gave the family money early. You want to talk about she brought the charges early? They gave the money early.
What that got to do with anything?
It has to do with a lot, because they looked at it like we paid $6 million for Freddie Gray life. Fuck is y'all talking about? Why y'all? What the fuck you mean charges? We paid $6 million for his life. Fuck it.
So what is your point? What are you saying right there, though?
The system is fucking flawed.
We
You know that.
They paid $6 million for acquittals.
They do it all the time. They paid like $30 million over the last 5 years.
$6 million was too low anyway, but I'm just saying.
I'm just saying they've been paying these settlements.
Right.
They've been paying these settlements.
I know, but I think that this was so blatant.
It's been blatant. They paralyzed the dude.
But
the same shit.
The only thing
how
is
this any different?
Look, they have video, and it just happened at a right political time. That's why they paid the money early. Like, that's it. Like, it's business as usual.
She knew all that.
Yeah.
But I think that
she didn't do anything heroic.
I think that her bringing the case, even after all those, she could have dropped them charges at any point in time. She could have dropped the charges before they even went to trial.
Or she could have introduced some other charges. What's your point?
She could still.
You think she wanted to lose?
I'm not saying. I don't know what she wanted to do.
Here's the thing: that was a police brutality case.
Where's the conspiracy?
They didn't charge it like that because that would have been too much.
Where's the conspiracy charge? That's all I'm saying. They would charge you.
Who charge who with the conspiracy?
With conspiracy for blinking too fucking hard. Where's the conspiracy charge?
They would charge you with conspiracy for this radio show.
Where's the conspiracy charge?
Like, conspiracy is like the hardest thing for you to prove that you weren't doing.
Where's the conspiracy charge?
You know,
and you get more time for conspiracy than you do for the regular crime.
All the stuff's gonna come out after, like the Sandra Bland shit is coming out. More shit's coming out now after the fact. More shit of this is gonna come out after the fact.
I'm sure, but that's when she'll be a hero if she finds some new evidence, and because see, you got to think like I have some investigation training, and investigations take time. I mean, in my house, who spilled the sugar investigation might take 2 hours. Like, I got 5 sons. You know what I mean?
That's bullshit because cases get cold. Who killed Tupac and Biggie?
A case can't
Who
get
killed
cold.
Tupac and Biggie?
A case can't get cold.
Yes, it can.
No, that is a
Tupac
European
and
concept.
Biggie. Cold.
Cold case means I don't give a shit no more. That doesn't mean the evidence doesn't.
Cold case means so many other cases are in front of it that case gets pushed to the back. That cases get cold.
Okay,
so many deaths happen, so much other shit. We ain't worrying about that. Who killed Tupac and Biggie?
Where's the conspiracy?
Who killed Martin Luther King?
Where's the conspiracy charge?
Freddie Gray is
who killed Martin Luther King for real?
And Biggie.
Who killed Martin Luther King for real? Whoever they say killed him. Who killed Kennedy? Whoever, you know what I mean? Just you put somebody here, they did it. That means it's over.
Back to the system is broken.
I'm just saying. I'm saying the system is definitely broken.
Right.
I'm saying that the system is broken.
I'm saying
the system is
I'm saying where's the conspiracy charge?
I don't even know if the system is broken as much as the system works the way that they set it up to work.
I'm just trying to tell you that a real investigation, right? Be it Martin Luther King, JFK, what's my man, Black Panther, Huey Newton, like any of these people, Malcolm X, right? Investigation,
all conspiracies.
Investigation takes time.
Does it take 50 years?
If it takes you that long, that's how long it takes. And that's the thing people don't understand. There's an art to digging. Crimes are
not solved. People snitch. That's it.
That's not true.
That's not true.
That's it.
No, I'll say this.
Police don't solve crimes. People tell. That's it.
Look, investigators do.
You weren't there. They don't know. Everything's a theory.
Investigators definitely develop evidence
without snitches.
without people talking. That absolutely is a fact that happened.
DNA and evidence, DNA stuff is new. DNA is new.
But guess what? Witnesses lie. So witnesses don't.
That's what I'm saying.
Witness testimony is
and DNA can lie.
Witness testimony is
DNA can be
testing is like
sure. If something happens in our house, right? Our DNA is all over the house. Just DNA can be confusing.
And so can witnesses.
DNA can be transferred so many different ways.
And so can witnesses.
Are the absolute least reliable evidence.
Video is reliable. That didn't help us.
Eyewitness is the absolute least reliably.
Because it could be a lie, it could be interpretation, it could be confusion.
View, blah, blah,
That's
blah.
why you need
So
multiple.
based
That's why
on
you
the
need
case-
multiple.
Based
Why
on
you
the
need
case,
multiple
on
Yeah.
thinking that the police was going to snitch on each other
Exactly.
was fucking
It's fucking
foolishness.
ridiculous.
From the door, that shit was dumb.
That's the
That
point I'm
was
trying to
dumb.
make.
That's why she can't be a hero. If you based your case on
So,
getting the police to snitch
I don't
on
think
each
she,
other,
I don't think that she
you
based.
can't be-
I don't think she based.
What
it on that.
what other evidence
I
did she
think-
put forward?
I think that the major issue
Did she
that
put Ben
happened,
Carson on the stand?
the major issue that happened.
She didn't put Ben Carson on the stand about it's no way possible that he did that to himself.
Right.
Did she? Where are the signs?
I don't think Ben Carson would have got on the stand.
Ben Carson wrote a Facebook post. Ben Carson, the biggest clown of 2015, explained very clearly that in his medical opinion, that could not have happened at Freddie Gray's hand, and it could not have happened in the back of the van. Those were Ben
I don't
Carson's
think she
words.
follows him on Facebook.
I don't either, but I saw. My point is, if she put that case forward, depending on the police to implicate each other,
I don't
You
think that
can't be a-
the
you
case,
can't
the
be a
case
hero.
wasn't dependent solely
what
on
was
that.
what was it dependent on?
Here's the issue. The issue to me,
What was it dependent on?
the
What
issue
else
to,
was
the issue to me was simple. Whether or not first the knife was legal, right? To me,
Which
Okay.
it was.
which it was. Anything after
After
that doesn't make sense because he shouldn't have been arrested in the first place
Right.
because the knife was legal.
Where's the
Real simple.
conspiracy charge?
Real
Where
simple.
is the
He shouldn't have been
conspiracy?
arrested. Anything that happens to him after that, because he
Where-
shouldn't have been in custody in the first place.
Where is the conspiracy charge? Period. Because all of that
I don't
shit,
think conspiracy was one of the charges on anybody.
It wasn't.
and my point is, if in fact
But I think wrongful arrest was one.
wrongful arrest, false imprisonment, conspiracy, murder, all of those murder.
Was one of the charges. If she was low, she wasn't lowballing. She went for the
No, she
biggest
should've
charges she could
went,
go
she should have
for.
went for conspiracy.
Some kind of way we didn't make wrongful arrest stick. And
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Well, I think the
That's
officers that would have stuck on their cases never happened. I mean, because the arresting officer should have been tried first. I don't understand why that
You
didn't
trying
happen.
your evidence is getting these other officers to turn. Not gonna happen.
Because it's
Not
all
gonna happen.
because it's
Actually,
all about snitching.
yeah,
it's
what-
all
what-
about snitching.
Well, that's
Well, then
lazy
you shouldn't.
police work,
What,
and we
here's
know
the
that's a
thing.
national,
Well, then you shouldn't have bought the
national
cases.
epidemic.
Yeah.
Then if you had no other evidence other than
You got the
getting
knife.
the police to snitch, you shouldn't have bought them cases.
You got the knife. You got video. You got people that was
if you couldn't-
outside
but if she
during the
couldn't make
arrest.
If she couldn't make the knife stick, if the legal knife, if she couldn't make
They didn't
that
try.
part of the
I don't
case,
think she thought that was. I think that part was weak for them for whatever reason because
But then you're not a hero.
she's still a hero
You're
for
not a
trying.
hero. How so? How so? How is doing your job make you a hero?
Because most people
How does-
Because
don't
most
do
people-
their job.
Because most people,
They only do their job against me,
but,
him,
but
Right.
most
You.
people, but most people,
not
do,
against the police.
but most that doesn't make her a hero.
No.
No.
Let us know in the comment section if Marilyn Mosby's a hero. I've spoken about Marilyn Mosby. I've spoken about Marilyn Mosby before, and I've gotten a lot of negative feedback, some racist shit
No, I'm
about
not-
Marilyn
First of all,
Mosby.
we not
There's a
saying-
whole group of
Where
people.
they at? Where they
There's
at?
a whole
'Cause we can
group
deal
of
with them
people who
too.
hate her for
That's not what
the
I'm saying.
audacity that she would have.
That's
you
what.
know?
That's why
The-
I uplift her.
For me, the
because of that.
diamond in the shining space in there was like this moment where there was this black lady in DC, right? And this black lady in Baltimore who were both saying, we're gonna get to the bottom of this. Like to me, that
What the
was
fuck is new about that?
like I love that part. You know,
but that's not
forget-
new.
forget the rest of it. Well, I mean, they were high profile. Both women were high profile. You have at
You talking about Loretta Lynch?
yeah, you know, and they were in power. They were in a place, and I just feel let down, as do a lot of Baltimoreans, that combination there, you know, they were not able to come up with any convictions on any cases, even with you would think that they would have some extra resources. I know Baltimore City Police Department is broke. I know that for a fact. And when I say broke, I don't mean that they don't have
Where
money.
Was the state police?
I mean that the way
Where
that they
was the
spend
sheriff's
money.
Office?
Right. There were plenty of outside agencies that could have come in and helped with the investigation, and none of them
all police cases should be done
by
on a federal level,
right?
And should not. And Judge Williams is all in cahoots. That's their homeboy. They all work with these people on a pretty much daily basis, or at least weekly basis. It won't work. It's a conflict of interest.
But I can say the same thing about Miss Mosby, because she got to work with them same police too. Do she not? Exactly.
But she brought them to trial. That was if she was on the Good Old Boy Network. She's on the outside. She's you know what I mean. I don't know what she's going to do going forward. I don't know whether she's going to turn.
None of them is going to jail. Is she really on the outside, or is this all just smoke and mirrors?
Did any of them lose their job?
No, they got back pay.
Right.
Got back pay.
So
one of them got like 80 grand.
So how do we know? How do we know this wasn't all from the beginning? You calling her a hero? How do we know this wasn't the plan from the beginning? This wasn't all political. Look, we're going to bring these charges. Y'all act, the police union, y'all act a donkey over here like y'all hate me. Y'all be mad, da-da-da. I'm going to bring these charges. I'm not going to put no real case forward. It's going to get thrown out and everybody can go back to normal. I get to look like the folk hero in Baltimore and everything's good. How we know that ain't what happened? I mean, I'm not saying it is, but I'm saying how do we know that ain't what happened?
Same thing about the history of Native Americans.
That could have happened.
How do we know?
That could have happened.
And I don't think that's what happened.
But it very well could have. And if it did happen, it's a great plan. If you on that side.
And it will be par for the course.
Because that's how they've been doing it.
That's a good way to end it.
You know how we'll know? You know how we'll know?
I don't think we'll ever know that.
We'll know.
Geraldo. Where you at, Geraldo?
Because if she real,
he's the media savior.
From this point forward, every case the police bring in her office, she will make them cross their T's or dot their I's, or she will throw that shit out.
She ain't gonna do that.
Then you ain't real and you ain't no hero. That's doing your damn job. Make them whores cross their T's and dot their I's.
They never
Don't bring
did that.
me no bullshit.
But they
cases.
never crossed their T's and dot their I's.
Guess what? Then you ain't no hero. Patricia Jessamy, though, was making them cross their T's and dot their I's. That's why they got her ass out of it.
And the bench trial was bullshit too.
I'm not saying it's not.
Because if it was a jury trial, it went totally different.
I'm simply saying to you.
But they would have said they couldn't get a fair trial here.
I'm simply saying to you, which is fine. I'm simply saying to you,
I don't think they could have got a acquittal in Annapolis.
I don't think they could have.
I mean, just because
it was too ridiculous.
Yeah, it was just too egregious.
He was alive.
He was alive, and then his
spine
broke.
arrested him.
Like, nigga, it's not his tooth broke; it's his spine broke. Like, what? Severed is the word. Like, it's not a sprain, motherfucker. Like.
He didn't get grain.
I wish they had gone to any other. I think in the hills of West Virginia, they probably would have got, and somebody would have got goddamn found guilty. Somebody.
Yeah.
You know, so the hero piece.
That's why
she's still my sister.
Yeah.
You know, I'm still love her when I see her. But
if I catch Gene Ryan, I'm gonna tell him, fuck him and his whole ilk, and you better not say nothing to her. So this is not about we don't roll with Jean. We don't roll with her.
Right.
That's not what it's about. But classifying her as a hero, I don't know about that. Make them police do their job from this point forward. Throw out every case they bring you that's some bullshit. Make them do their job.
I mean, every case. We know widely that policing is some bullshit is unfairly biased against brown people. We know that, like, for a fact. Like, it's been proven over and over again. Baltimore, every other major city.
They lie in police reports.
Like, we know that. Contradictory.
They plant evidence.
Shit, and we know that for a fact. So when you stand up and say, I will tolerate no contradictory bullshit ass reports from officers under my term as the state's attorney, now you've said something that means something to some people. Now you're a hero. Now you can start saying, well, this is the person that came and cleaned up the prosecutor's office. Like, Those are
it
the
has
kind of
to.
things.
I do think she has that kind of stuff in her, and it has to start somewhere. And the first thing may not be a quote unquote victory on paper, but I think that the whole thing was a victory.
But let me say
We'll see.
also,
We'll see.
is
If
just-
it
just to keep
starts
balanced out
some
and
change.
being fair, is that an elected position that she's in?
Yes,
Yeah. So that means
but she
that
just got in there.
she just got in there. But this is the thing.
It ain't election year for her.
Right, it's not
Not
election
yet.
year, but here's the thing. Here's the thing I'm getting at. Who paid to get her in that office?
Oops.
She wasn't the incumbent.
I know, but what
Who
I'm saying
funded her
was,
campaign?
who funded her campaign? Was it the masses of black people who wanted to see a young sister who they thought was going to fight?
Or
Giving $50, and giving the millions of dollars to get
no,
in there?
it wasn't.
Or was it other interests?
Other interests.
So that's an indictment of us.
Every time.
Not supporting.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Not supporting, not holding accountable.
You mean like not calling her a hero when she does hero shit?
She didn't
Oh.
do nothing.
Let's end on that note.
How can people stay in touch with Shaw?
Right. How can people stay in touch with you?
I don't really like people.
Okay, well that's what's up.
Wow.
When are y'all coming back?
Or just look up Changa Music. I'm everywhere. One word. And don't spell my shit wrong. And I'm not telling you how to spell it.
When y'all coming back?
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay.
The blacks.
All right, we'll see y'all tomorrow at 7 p.m.